Beginning of the month, we always do a call-in show on every Wednesday, every first Wednesday of the month. We will be doing the call-ins within, I want to say 15 to 20 minutes of the show. First 15 to 20, we're just going to chit-chat and set up basically the first topic to really get us going. But by all means, if you call in, feel free to add to whatever we're discussing, or if you want to discuss something else, you're more than welcome to. This is the platform for you guys to basically have your say on anything and everything going on with Chelsea. So that being said, I am your host, Marshalldbdx, accompanied by the starting panel of Real Chris, Oliver, and potentially Scott. We'll see if he makes it. But ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and start, as usual, be sure to smash up the like button. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. We are on our way to 3K subscribers, so help me achieve that new milestone by hitting that subscribe. Let's get to 2,300 first, and then we'll work our way up to that number as well. So be sure to do that. Check out the links in the description down below for everyone's content, all the other avenues in which you can enjoy Casually Chelsea or Casually FC. Be sure to also hit the bell notification so you don't miss out when we do go live. Be sure to also leave a comment down below. Let us know about anything that we discussed today, any opinion you may have about any of the topics that will be brought up in today's show. And big up to everyone in the chat. Be sure to check out the memberships as well, starting at 99p. All good stuff there. You get some awesome emojis to use up as well. So big up Jose and F Arsenal. Yes. Big up Chris. Big up to all the members. What?
The other guy, I didn't see him actually in my own chat. It's weird. You do though. Never mind.
Anyways, hey, you guys won today, right? Newcastle won their game today.
Just on that quickly, I want to publicly apologise for wanting Luis Enrique as Chelsea manager after Graham Potter. I want to publicly apologise.
Yeah, I should apologize too, I guess. He's not been doing so hot, has he?
I will say
they're fifth in League On, aren't they?
They are fifth. Yes, they are fifth so far. But I wouldn't really apologise yet because maybe it's gonna take Luis Enrique time, like Poch. You know, Poch maybe not doing as bad as Luis Enrique, but it might take both managers time with the new clubs. I would say PSG is a bit of a mess with the whole Mbappe.
They have a better team though. That's the thing.
Yeah, they have a better team, but they're still a bit of a mess behind the scenes with Mbappe, him leaving and shit. Like that could.
No, they agreed. They agreed a contract extension.
Again.
Yeah.
Why is
he's extended until at least 2025.
I don't know. Well, he's still going anyway, but yeah, that Newcastle game, I was kind of shocked how they won 4-1. PSG, they had no midfield that game. They had no midfield. So yeah, I don't know what is with Luis Enrique's football, but he needs to actually do something in that midfield. I don't know what it is.
It's so slow, man. That's all I'm gonna say. That was unbelievable.
That was the problem with it. Yeah, it's too slow. They couldn't really build up. Newcastle was pressing them too hard. So yeah, I'm not sure.
I was gonna.
Chelsea?
Well, no. Well, on that same topic, because you had said, see how Pochettino turns it around. That's basically what I wanted to discuss with you guys, get a little bit of a feeler. The thing is, okay, so we won 2 games on the trot now, right? It's looking more and more like Poch is finding his strongest lineup. We're finally starting to see Mudryk get a run of games, right? Finally, Cole Palmer is playing in a position that he's, should be playing in. Not that he wasn't before, but he's finally getting minutes to prove himself in the number 10 in the right wing position. Started 2 games in a row now, and he's been looking fantastic in that position. We've seen Maatsen play a little bit as well, and he's been putting his imprint into the games. And even Broja, to a certain extent, Broja has been looking pretty decent. In the 2 games that he's made an appearance in, the 3 games I should say, but he got his goal against Fulham in the Premier League. And listen, I know people are going to say, oh, but it's just Fulham. And listen, we barely scrapped up a win against Wimbledon. We lost against Nottingham Forest. We did beat Luton, right? And we put up a good draw against Liverpool, but we lost to West Ham. You know, we're
I
losing
will say as well,
to
Marshall,
some teams. You
before
know,
facing Fulham, they was ahead of us, I think, by 2 points before we played it. It's a result we needed to get. And another thing is, we still had a lot of injuries. We had to play a left back,
I should also remind
a left back
people.
at right back, and still a centre back at left back.
I should also remind people that this same Fulham team is the same one that drew against Arsenal. I'm pretty sure, right? And
yeah,
also
2-2 in the second game, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they also drew against Tottenham, if I'm not mistaken, or Liverpool.
I'm not too sure about that. I remember the Arsenal
Wait,
one.
no,
Yeah, I
don't,
can't
maybe not
remember.
Liverpool.
But-
Actually, let me just look this up real
But
quick,
no,
guys.
Fulham ain't a bad team like that. Like, and we outperformed them. Like, they didn't really want the game either. Like, our first 2 goals, like the link up from Caicedo, because I didn't speak on it. That Caicedo to Colwell and then Colwell to Mudryk, that was just beautiful to watch. Like, all the link up play, like, it was too good. And our press was lately. Our press is a lot better right now. Like, and that's the thing. It's gonna take time with Pochettino, I think, because he's had a lot of injuries and he can't rush in a lot of these young players we brought in. This is a situation we put in. Like with Cole Palmer, I didn't expect he could rush him in. I said it's gonna take time with Cole Palmer playing in the Chelsea team. Obviously Mudryk, I actually didn't believe he wants to rush in Mudryk. He's easing him in for 60 minutes. He's starting him lately now, so I don't believe he wants to play Chilwell left wing all season. I don't think any of us truly believe he wants to do that. I think he actually wants to play more attacking style of play, because you saw under Tottenham, he didn't play like this at like Chelsea. He didn't play that style of football. So I'm not gonna be like too crazy and say Poch out, like want him out so quickly. Like I still back him. Like we gave Potter too much. We gave Potter a lot of time last season, so I want to see the same energy for especially fans who gave him that much time for Poch, because Poch is a way better manager and like our last one, and we can't just keep sacking managers, because I don't know who we'd get next after Poch. Like I saw for example a fan, chess fan called Matt, he's the Australian one, said, "Oh, if we sack Poch, do we get Ten Hag in? Look how badly Ten Hag's doing right now." The Chelsea fans would be going.
Wait, the Kepistan, Matt.
Yes, the Kepistan.
Oh.
I saw that. Like it's. Nah, like there's not many managers out there I can think of. Yeah, there might be a hidden one.
By the way, I'm not taking Ten Hag, man. Exactly. Ten Hag has had a chance to implement his style on Manchester United. He bought players like Mount. Like, sorry, no.
No, I agree.
And just one thing on what Chris said there. Like, yeah, we did give Potter a lot of time, granted, but you look at some of the players we had in that team. No, they were going to leave the club anyway. There was so much deadwood in that team. That's the difference. Poch doesn't have. He doesn't have deadwood. You can't name me a player at Chelsea right now that, like, quite obviously doesn't want to be there. I think there is a bit of a difference there, but I just thought I'd point that out.
I will say, like, okay, I agree. There's a lot of deadwood compared to last season, but this season we brought obviously a whole new squad of youngsters, and we still had we had more injuries this season compared to last season. We lost our best attacker in Cuckoo already at the start of the season and pre-season. He is a big hit. Like, I know to say, you shouldn't rely on Cuckoo, but we've had other injuries as well what's affected us. Like Reece James, I know Gusto's actually filled in really well for him. Actually, I can't be mad at that really, because he's done really well. But now he's red carded. Now we're missing him to Arsenal. But
I tell you what, I think the reason a lot of people have been criticising Poch, and we've said this on this show in the past, that he hasn't stuck true to what got us playing so well at pre-season. He changed it all up based on pretty much just one injury. He changed up the whole thing. Whereas you look at the performance against Fulham, and granted we didn't have a lot of the ball, but that was probably the most true performance to what we did in pre-season that I've seen ever since this season actually began against Liverpool.
I will say Chelsea performance as well. Even not win, we did lose the game 1-0 to Aston Villa, but I thought we outperformed Villa until the red card. We was creating more chances. Villa weren't doing really that much until the red card. Like, I know we lost, but that's not really down to Poch's style of football. I thought Poch outplayed Enrique, or whatever his name is, how you pronounce it. I thought we played really well that game, and even Bournemouth. We just didn't take our chances against Bournemouth. I think Chelsea, we just haven't taken our chances either. Like, Jackson's been he's been kind of underperforming for me actually, but like that's the thing with Chelsea. We haven't been putting our chances away in the last few games, like especially Fulham. We put our chances away, and I think that's a big difference. So hopefully we keep putting our chances away and we get results. But this is why I back Pochettino still.
So what I wanted to ask you guys is, what do you think let's stay away from the obvious, right? The obvious being, okay, no Chilwell at left wing, right? What do you guys think is starting to now work for Pochettino going forward now? Essentially, why is this team winning games now versus before? You know, because we had a game where we didn't have Chilwell and we still didn't win. You know what I mean? It wasn't all on Chilwell. It wasn't all on Levi Colwill. You know, like, and even then, like, I know we did see against Brighton Enzo at the number 10, but we still won that game.
I was gonna say, like, for example, I still think like changing. I saw a difference in performance wise in attack. When Chilwell did get dropped though from left wing, I think that's a big improvement from there. The Colwill at left back's not a huge thing, but like he's still playing left back. I thought like taking time as well. Like it's gonna take a little bit of time. You have to wait. Like you can't expect like instant like performances and results straight away with a new manager, new team.
But the thing is, Chris, Colwell's learning the position. Look at that ball he played to Mudryk. That's showing.
That's what I'm talking about,
he went on the overlap. He's learning the position. So you've got to praise that. It's progress. You know,
no, that's why I said it's gonna take time. Like and
yeah, exactly.
Like, Cole Palmer.
That's why you give time. You give time when you start seeing progress. You know the players and the manager earn themselves time with progress. And this is an example of that, like you say. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and obviously, what's his name? Caicedo, he had a bit of a shaky start, but now he's like, obviously had a run of games. Now he's looking a lot better in that midfield because obviously every game we play in midfield right now, we're dominating in the midfield battle. So that's a big reason, I think, as well. Like, I don't know, like, it's just going to take a bit of time for me with all that. I think as well, there's another thing as well. Once like a lot of players like come back, like in Cuckoo, what's his name?
Carney.
Reece James. I think we'll be fine about Carney still. Reece James.
Reece James.
Yeah, those are two big signers. Even Badiashile maybe, because maybe we can. Maybe we can actually drop Thiago Silva more when Badiashile is back fit. Like that's a big one for me as well. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any other big players that are out like but them, but like that's gonna be a big thing for Pochettino, I think.
I think you got to wait for Lavia to come back as well. I know he hasn't played yet, but he'll be a big player for us.
Lavia's gonna be a big bench player or starter. Say if we play a 4-3-3 or we don't have any 10 or something, and Enzo can play 10. That he will be big for that as well. I forgot about Lavia.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us forgot about Lavia, and even like.
We haven't seen him yet.
I know. Even to a certain extent, because, listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I wasn't getting frustrated with Poch. I wasn't getting frustrated with the results prior to us winning the Brighton game. And I'm not going to pretend like I had confidence that we were going to go into that game and win. You know, like, it's just that it was hard to see where the fix was going to come from. Like,
I agree.
It was hard to see, like, because even the what was the game before Brighton? The game before Brighton was
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, right? Even against Aston Villa, like, we didn't put up that bad of a lineup. Like, let me just.
The reason as well, a big reason I thought our results are gonna be like looking bad after that because we lost Gusto, and Gusto arguably was one of our best players playing before that. Like he got a red card. I don't really blame Gusto, but after that red card, like I thought, we have no right back. I didn't think Cucurella's gonna play, but now Cucurella's came in and playing really well defensively. It's kind of helped. Obviously,
so,
like I thought we was gonna have no right back basically.
I'm looking at the lineup, right? Outside of Colwill at left back, you can argue Thiago Silva starting. I know people want to argue that, you know, he slows down the game too much. That's fine. I get where that argument's coming from. And Enzo Fernandez at the 10. This is still a strong enough lineup that you would think can get a result. And we still managed to not get a result against Aston Villa, who even at that point, they weren't. I don't think they were winning games going into that. I think they were struggling a little bit.
They had a very leaky. They had a very leaky defense going in, which is why it was so disappointing that we managed to run away with a clean sheet.
Yeah.
I do blame that on our attack though, because there was a couple of chances where we should have buried in. As I remember in that game.
It's at that point, right, where like it's just frustrating, and it's like, listen, I wasn't gonna say Poch out because I just genuinely at that point didn't think that stacking the manager and getting another one in is gonna solve a damn thing. Like it's like. You see the football that's trying to be played. You see the chances being made, and if they're not burying it, then is that going to be on Poch? And at the end of the day, like it is going to be on Poch because it's easier to sack a manager versus a whole team. You just got a brand new team, Poch. And we all said, like, you went into this project knowing full well what you were going to get. Now, we did find out recently, and I'll see if I can find some tweets and I'll get him on the channel, right? But we did find out recently that he didn't have that much of a say in the transfer window, apparently.
Most managers don't have like a massive say unless it's maybe Pep. Like, you have to be like a proven manager, like over the years, like for the club. Like,
it does say, but Chris, it does tell me that like a lot of this team was built through
for the future
just
shit like that,
for the future.
Project.
And it was just Win Stanley, and Poch didn't really have much of a say. So Poch didn't have a say on Nicholas. Maybe did he? I don't think he did. Poch didn't have a say on Nicholas Jackson. Poch didn't have a say on Caicedo. Poch didn't have a say on Malagusto. Poch didn't have a say on a lot of these players that we got. A lot of these youth as well. He didn't have a say on Maatsen. Like, that's what it tells me.
I think maybe the profile type of player. Maybe to get the managers just get asked like what type of profile player you want. But like they don't actually get names. They might give a list and they go off that list, but like they don't really get like that many names themselves.
Well, managers aren't. Managers aren't. They're not scouts. It's not their job to provide names. You know, they're not. That's not their area of expertise.
And it seemed like I thought. Listen, and the last thing I want to fucking hear from anyone, or I'll fucking smack you upside the head, is. Oh, you see, I told you, the sporting director of the board, he just wanted a yes man. Like, shut the fuck up, all right? None of us here knew who was calling the shots on anything, okay? Let's not pretend like anyone knew. No one knew. Your mineral munchers didn't fucking know. No one knew, okay? I could sit here and say, guys, the world is satellite controlled weather, and like I could say that till the cows come home, and until the day actually comes, I'm gonna be wrong, and then when the day comes, I'm gonna be right. Like, I'm not gonna be like some doomsday caller just to be right once. Like, that analogy didn't make much sense. A better analogy would be the fans that are already calling for the sacking of the manager, or the sacking or just the changing of the board and the ownership, because they already don't rate them from the get-go. And then when the one time happens and the manager gets sacked or the sporting director gets sacked, they're gonna tell you, oh, you see, I was right the whole time. You know, like that's not a fucking fan. Like that's just
being
what's
toxic. Weird about it though, like
it's stupid.
About scouting, like, and I think like Raval left, like that was kind of a bit weird for me.
It does raise flags. I get that. Like, that does raise some red flags.
For me. I would like to know the reason why he left. Like, is it because they couldn't agree on him and the owners couldn't agree or something? Or I don't know the reason. So it's kind of a bit of a red flag, like you said.
What I was getting at before I went on my tangent, sorry, is that essentially, like, you know, I didn't think sacking the manager would solve anything, and now we're seeing that potentially maybe, and we're not even playing with our strongest team, mind you. Potentially, maybe I could see Poch starting to turn things around. And I still stick to my theory that once we play the harder teams, I feel like we actually will get results in this harder fixtures coming up. Like, you can call me like deluded or whatever, but I still think when we play against the Man City, the Brighton, Arsenal, Man United, when we play against those teams that are going to let us play the way we want to play, we actually might get a result from one or two. I don't expect us to win. I'm not saying we're going to win on every single one, but like, I also wouldn't be surprised if we actually don't lose all of them.
No, yeah, like talking about like next few games, like Burnley, I was actually thinking maybe before, like obviously Aston Villa, I think we're not gonna get a result against Burnley and all that, but like the last few results, like obviously Cucurella playing right back and obviously the results, like I'm a bit more confident. Sorry. With I think we'll beat Burnley. I actually think we'll give Arsenal a good game because Gusto comes back as well, so that's good. And I think Cole Palmer's playing a lot more minutes as well, and Mudrik's playing a lot more minutes. Sterling will be back because he had illness. Jackson will be back as well, and Jackson very good against Brighton. It's a shame he had too many yellows to not play against Fulham, because I believe he would have actually got a goal or two maybe against Fulham too, because we was playing good. I think that was the game for him to get a goal or two in that game. Because even Brozier got a goal in that game, and he ain't played for like 11 months properly. Like, he only had a couple of minutes now and then.
I'm gonna ask you both something. Do you guys reckon? I still think we're gonna get a striker in January, but do you guys reckon that Broja might actually be a decent amount of competition for Jackson, considering how many goals and how many opportunities Jackson's missed so far, versus like Broja on his first game back manages to do something, you know, and now could potentially be a competition.
I think it's probably too soon to tell. I mean, he started the game and he did all right. Played only 60 minutes. He was so tired at the at that 60th minute mark. He was on the floor. Like, you know, he obviously has a lot of work to do in terms of building up his stamina. I don't think he's in a position where, if we have Jackson, I don't think for now he can take his place unless we see something miraculous from him on the training pitch where he's starting to get that stamina back very, very quickly. And the goal, fair enough. Like, he made his own luck. You know, it was a mistake from Ream, but he made his own luck by putting him in that position, by putting himself in that position to.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
It was good.
He had to press the guy.
Yeah, but like at the same time, you know, you can't really look at that and say, oh, you know, clinical finish. You know, look at the chance. Look at the chance he had at the beginning of the game where he rounded the goalkeeper and he skied it. You know, so he's not the complete finished article yet. Granted, you know, for a first start since an ACL injury, he looked very, very good. But I think it's just the fact that we didn't have any options in that game. Like, you know, we're not going to play David Washington. Sterling was ill in the week. Jackson was suspended. I think that was the reason he started. But, you know, if Broja can continue on what he's done in the last game, then for now he definitely can be a decent competition until January, and then we can reevaluate from there. You know, whatever the manager wants to do and all that.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I don't think he's good enough competition in the future because, like you said, in January or even in the summer, we'll go for a big striker, and guess what? It's going to be either Jackson as the backup as well, and we have maybe in the future Osherman or Ivan Toney, and where does that leave Broja? Somewhere packing either for a loan or we sell him. And another thing is I'm never really convinced for Broja as a top level player. I know some people are. I would love for him to prove me wrong, you know, actually bang some goals. But at Southampton, he didn't score enough goals for me. And when he obviously came at Chelsea, he didn't get a lot of minutes, but yeah, it didn't really show a lot for me again. And now he's had this big injury. I'm just not going to be confident for him to be that guy, backup competition or whatever. I just don't see it. But you know what? At the minute, he has to be good enough. He's definitely better than Washington to use, because Washington is just going to sit there and wear the kit. Only that's all he's going to do. So, yeah, I'm not... For the future, no. He's not going to be back up. He's going to be sold or alone for me.
I think in the short term, it's going to be useful to have two different profiles of striker. You know, we saw with Broja, he very much... If you saw the average position graphics, you saw that he was very much staying in the middle of the pitch and he wasn't dropping deep too much. Jackson is obviously, as we've seen from the games he's played, he's a much more all action, getting touches on the ball, dropping deep, kind of moving into the wide areas. He's much more mobile than Broja. And that doesn't mean that Broja isn't mobile. He's got freakish pace, or at least he had freakish pace before the injury. And to be honest, he didn't look too bad with the pace against Fulham. But it definitely is a different way of playing the game. You can sort of play a lot more direct to Broja, and, you know, it's just a different way of playing. You have different avenues to attack, which will help us in certain situations.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was gonna say, yeah. After that ACL, it's hard. I think he probably has lost a bit of pace after the ACL injury. A lot of players do. Even look at Van Dijk as well now. He's lost a lot of pace. Even Cho, he's not as quick as he used to be. Oh wait, Cho did his Achilles, right? Actually. Yeah, no, different injury, but still he lost pace as well. When you have a big injury like something like that, yeah, you lose pace normally. But yeah, he's gonna be a nice backup until January or summer, 1 or 2. I don't see it going past that, to be honest. But who knows, man? Football, you don't know. You don't have the answers in football, really. Anything can happen.
Glue Inner, thanks for the subscribe, brother. Welcome to the show. We were top 3 and 4 and used to complain that we had what we had at 2, and now we are a relegation team talking about Broja and Jackson's. Where it went wrong. You sound like an Arsenal fan right now, man. Listen, The thing is, and I have a tweet. You know what? I'll find this tweet. I'll read you a nice tweet here that actually points out a big thing that people seem to forget about Chelsea, right? You guys pretend that things were peachy prior to the new ownership, but I'm here to remind you. Here's a tweet right here. It's not all Mauricio Pochettino's fault, as this is obviously something that's gone on for much longer than that. But I'm not sure the owners are going to have terribly much patience considering how much money they've spent. So listen, this has been something that's been going on even under Roman's regime. We've been on a downward spiral. We won the Champions League, but that was just patching up the big cracks that we had in this team. And we saw it after we won a Champions League, how we barely managed to stay in top 4. We had a 10-point lead, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
We had a 10-point lead, and then at the end of the season, it was a 1 point ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, under Lampard we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is under Tuchel.
No, under Tuchel.
So when the sanctions season.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spurs finished 1 point behind us, and they had Nuno for 2 months. Just to put that into perspective.
I have even more tweets here to show this as well.
I was going to say with the ownership, this is what the ownership should still expect. You sign a bunch of young players. You have to be a bit patient with all this, because you signed Mudryk, who isn't really that proven. You signed Cole Palmer, who's a young talented kid, so it's going to take him time. You signed Jackson, who isn't really a top goal scorer, who's quite young as well, who's just about making it into the game as well. And you signed Madueke as well, who's not really going to play much. Like, there's only Nkunku and Sterling are the top 2 experienced attackers you brought. Well, you want instant results from them too, but the others, in attack wise, you have to be patient in that. And all our midfielders are young as well.
Mm-hmm. And let me also remind you, that season that we won the Champions League, the only reason we got into top 4 is because Gareth Bale bailed us out. No pun intended on that one.
Yeah, big up Gareth Bale, man.
If Gareth Bale didn't score that game that Tottenham played, we would have finished outside of top 4.
Top 4 still wouldn't have mattered, to be honest.
It wouldn't have mattered, right? But we didn't know we were going to win the Champions League at the time.
Of course not.
I mean, if we'd gone into that game finishing 5th, that's a different pressure. We have to, you have to win the Champions League final to get top 4 to get Champions League qualification. That is a very different context.
And here we go. This tweet right here. People will argue Chelsea won the Champions League and the Club World Cup in 2021 and apportion blame on the new owners for making too many changes too soon. But as the table below illustrates, the decline had set in before Boli Clearlake arrived. So this is wait, let me just read this.
They're on about Bowley, the ownership taking too many changes in players.
Oh, this is our results.
No, Chris, it's just talking about changing everything, changing backroom, changing medical staff, changing players, just everything really. I think that's more of the argument.
So yeah, look at this. In 2020 and 2021, we couldn't beat Man City. We didn't beat any of these teams. The only teams we beat in the top five. City, United, Liverpool, Arsenal. This is shambolic. The only team that we beat was Tottenham, again with Tuchel. Right? This is a Tuchel season. This is Tuchel season.
Was that his last full
2-0.
season?
That was his full season. Yeah. 2-0. Every other result, we lost against Arsenal each time. We lost. We couldn't beat City.
Wait, we beat Liverpool at 1 point, didn't we?
But these are some of the results. I don't think we beat Liverpool. We beat Liverpool the second leg.
We beat Liverpool away. Yeah, with the Mount goal
in the second leg.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember Mount going.
It's not like we were top of the food chain. It's not.
Chris, this is home form.
Right. Okay.
These are home games.
That makes a lot more sense.
They're all home games.
Yeah. This is what we're doing at Stamford Bridge, man. We were only able to beat Tottenham in this whole entire time at Stamford Bridge in the home games.
It's lucky when you had to beat all the small teams then to keep getting top 4, because there's a lot more small teams than big teams. That was lucky then.
Yeah, we weren't this bad, but it's not like we weren't going to get this bad.
The reason we struggled as well with Tuchel and Navy beating some of these big teams because our attack was just shit. Our defense was good, our midfield was decent, and our attack was shit.
This is what I want people to understand. Essentially, what happened when Boli got here is rather than slowly bleed out, he ripped the stitches off. So it all came flooding in. We were eventually going to get into this form. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
That was the trend, definitely.
The trend was going towards that. We just ripped the Band-Aid off and got straight into it. Now, do I want to? I'm not saying like my standards are low, and like I'm not saying lower your standards and all that stuff. I get it. We're Chelsea. We want to be a top 4 team. We want to be in Champions League all the time. We want to win the Premier League. The standard is still there, but this overhaul was long overdue. Long overdue.
No, I agree. Since like the a lot of the players we had and everything, and even a lot of the football directing and scouting, especially scouting, because I think our scouting over for a long time, even under Roman, we just weren't scouting any like hidden talent, like players like random, not random clubs, but just maybe a bit of a random club, a small club, and like getting them for cheap, like Gusto or something like that, or Badi Shield from the French league, for example. Like those 2 players from the French league, that's great scouting as, because no one knew who they were, and they've worked out brilliant like for us. I'm trying to think if there's any other like players we scouted like really good. I don't think there is. Maybe there is. I don't know. But,
there was really none.
I mean, Leslie looks pretty good. We got.
Oh yeah, Leslie Uchuku. He looks good too. What is it? Was he from French league too?
Yeah, he was from Rennes.
Ren, yeah.
The thing is, I'm not a huge fan of the ownership buying all these 18-year-olds for like 20+ million, because I don't believe that will go work out, and I think we're just spending a bit too much money on that, and when we could maybe save some of it for like a big
it wasn't. What are you on about, bro? Our attack was great with Werner, Mount, and Havertz. We just didn't know about Tuchel. We just didn't. I think he meant to say didn't know about Tuchel's style, and we're not good at football as fan base.
Right.
We complained about wrong things, failed to understand how Tuchel played.
These are the same attackers, by the way, that cost Tuchel the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. So what are we actually saying here? They were shocking. I don't know how you can praise them. They won a UCL and good on them. It was a cup run. It was lucky.
No. The attack didn't win us the UCL, by the way. It was
well, they were obviously a part of it. So I'll give them. And Havertz scored the goal, so he deserves. They do deserve some credit. I'm not going to be that like agenda on Kai Havertz and all these guys.
You could have some amateur footballers like covering, like just like one of them, and still not Mason Mount Champions League was very good. I won't like.
Hold on.
This is the thing. Like, why did we have to pay 275k per week for Timo Werner to run around and have a dead touch? You don't need to do that, man.
Guys, in the chat. Okay, under Tuchel, we had a great attack. Okay, the Werner, Mount, Havertz attack. I'm going to say that was from the 2020 season and 2021. This is good enough attack for you? 30 goals? 31 goals? Are you fucking kidding me?
I think was that the year Jorginho was our top scorer?
Jorginho was our top goal scorer in the Champions League
season. Yes, and that was this the 2019-2020 season. Is that really good?
No, I think it was the season after that with Jorginho.
Sorry. And this is even worse. The 31 goals, most of those were from Jorginho. Is our attack really that great? And then 37 goals. The Mount's GNA season. Is that really that good?
Jesus,
should I fucking pull up Man City's goals without a striker? Should I pull up Arsenal? Should I pull up Liverpool? You want to know what a good attack is?
We literally had a point in our season where James and Chilwell were our top goal scorers. Let's call it as it is, man.
20 goals scored in the last season,
and also
19 conceded,
which has been our status for the. We haven't been relegated, so we haven't even had a relegation battle. How can you say we're heading towards relegation?
Wait, what?
Like if you're taking that word literally, then we weren't in a relegation battle last season.
We were. If you're going to discount the last 2 games, we have been in relegation form.
We have been in relegation form. Yeah, that's right. But it's not like we were fighting out of relegation with fucking Everton, Burnley, Leeds. You know, like,
I mean, Marshall, at the same, we did only finish 10 points above the drop. Like it was like it's not as far fetched as it sounds.
Like at the same time, like you want to say like. People want to chat, want to say right now that, we're overblowing this attack thing. You guys are overblowing the fact that we were heading towards relegation as well. Like, we weren't in good form. We were in relegation form, but we also I don't think any of us actually believed we were going to get relegated.
I will say, you're on about last season, right?
Sure,
if we didn't have Tuchel,
by the way, the link to the stream
Potter,
is in the chat. So if you want to join the StreamYard and have your say, it is in the chat for you.
I was gonna say, by the way, if we had Potter from the get-go, like relegation battle might have been on for sure. Because Potter had way better results than Potter, like Tuchel had way better results than him. So like we would have.
You hired Lampard after Potter as well. Remember that as well.
Yeah. It just went a bit worse after when we signed Lampard, but we had to because we sacked. That's another reason we sacked Potter way too late, so we couldn't get any other manager.
Impartial Blue, I just noticed that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. These are only home goals. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
We probably had more goals. I didn't realize that.
Oh, no, yeah. I knew it was home goals. I thought you knew that. Like, 20 goals.
No, I had no idea.
But look how bad that is. 20 goals scored, yeah.
It's still not good.
Yeah, like the last season, yeah. And 19 conceded. That's so bad. Like, one goal plus.
Marshall, can you just bring up Gluina's comment about City having 7 attackers?
They had no strikers.
Wait, just pull the comment up quickly.
They had... Wait, no, not this
one. No, the one before that.
Damn it. Right, here we go.
Yeah, that one. So, we only had 3 attackers. So, Pulisic wasn't at the club. Ziyech wasn't at the club. Callum Hudson-Odoi wasn't at the club.
3.
Am I missing anyone? Tammy Abraham in the first season wasn't at the club.
Olivier Giroud.
I said that, yeah.
Like, let's not delude ourselves here. We had attackers, but none of them stepped up to the plate.
Technically, Chilwell and Reece James was an attack quite a lot. I know they're not attackers, but they was helping attack a lot.
I'm not counting that. I can't lie.
I know, but like they was acting like right mid and left mid. They was acting
Wait, so
like
what have I overblown though? Like, tell me what I've overblown because I might be missing what you're saying. There's a lot of you commenting, so I can't keep up with everything.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with it. So
yeah.
No, we've been poor under the new regime of these owners and under Roman the last few years. Like,
I agree with you to a certain extent. Yes, you're right. There's a lot of the people in this fan base that had an agenda against Jorginho, which I thought was absolutely horrible, and people that complained about Rudiger not signing, yet these same fans were lambasting Rudiger for years, lambasting Christensen whenever he missed a game because of mental health. Like, there were people in this fan base that were absolutely disrespectful to these players, and these players did not owe us absolutely jack shit. I agree with you, but let's also not sit here and pretend that our attack was great. There's a reason we got Romelu Lukaku. There is a reason we got Romelu Lukaku. The biggest thing that we were missing in that season after we won the Champions League is the amount of opportunities that we missed in that season because we didn't have a clinical striker.
That's all we needed.
And we got Romelu Lukaku for that reason.
That attack gives our UCL win much more of a taint than it really should have. I'll be honest, as much as I said it was lucky, no, I'm going to take that back. No, because we were
not world beaters. What are you talking about? This is delusional.
Let me just say, so like, as much as I did kind of take it away, I'm going to backtrack because if you actually go back and watch some of those games in that 2020-21 Champions League campaign that we won, we were destroying teams. Some of the best coaches in Europe. We were beating Diego Simeone, Zinedine Zidane, Pep Guardiola. We were destroying them, and I remember that Real Madrid game. We should have won that 5-1 on aggregate, but why didn't we? Can someone explain that? Because it wasn't the midfield's fault, it wasn't the defender's fault. Whose fault was it? Was it Mendy's fault, the goalkeeper? No, whose fault was it?
Definitely not Tax, That was the only problem with under Tuchel. Like, the midfield was really good. Kovacic and Kante even, and Jorginho was like a really good midfield to have. Defense was unreal. Like, Thiago Silva, age 36, was still really good. Rudiger, all these players. Chilwell before injury, like, he was really. I rated Chilwell highly. He's like one of the best left backs I thought in the world at that point. Reece James. He's one of the best right backs in the world, and Mendy was unreal. But yeah, like, our attack was just a massive letdown. You was on about that, right, Oliver?
Yes, I was on about the attack. The revisionism is crazy. The fact that people can say that wasn't our problem, it just goes to show that either you're forgetful or you just didn't watch the games in the first place.
Look, I like Timo Werner, but because he made great runs and shit, and I did. He won a lot of penalties too, but he wasn't good enough. Like, every time he is in that good, crucial, area, easy goal or tap in, he just somehow missed it, and that's the only thing what Timo Werner was really.
Yeah, but Chris, you're honest about that, and that's what I rate. You know, some other people aren't being honest about it. We just have to call it as it is. You know, it doesn't. You know, it's not going to hurt anyone to say that they were bad because the stats don't lie, our eyes don't lie. We all saw this stuff. We can all read it off a number sheet.
And let's be real, like Kai Havertz is literally, I think he's done worse than Timo Werner. Way it's just the only one good thing he's done is literally that Champions League final. That's the only really good game he's really had. Maybe the semi-final.
Just quickly, Marshall, for all these attackers that apparently weren't the problem at Chelsea, you know, they all went to worse leagues than the Premier League, and granted, they might be doing okay, or maybe even at a push, some of them are doing good. Look at the ones that stayed in the Premier League. Look at Mount and Havertz and tell me what their offensive contributions are thus far. I dare you.
But hold on, like, glue inner. Surely you were watching Chelsea with us, right? Even when Lukaku wasn't in the team, we still weren't winning games. It was too okay. You want to okay? I think
reason why we got results.
Yes, right. Exactly, Chris. You want to say Tuchel didn't these are players that Tuchel didn't want and all this stuff. You want to say that we didn't understand Tuchel's system or whatever. Okay. Obviously, you rate Tuchel. Obviously, you wanted to keep him, but it was Tuchel that didn't want to change his formation when we were getting found out. It was Tuchel that was managing this team that was 10 points ahead in the top 4 race and barely scraped by with 1 point left and dropped down because it's the same manager that didn't want to change his tactics. His tactics were found out. Listen, I think one of the biggest reasons that we won that Champions League is because Tuchel came into this team and played a system that made it nearly impossible for teams to defeat us. He had a block of 5 defenders, essentially, with Jorginho, Kovacic, Jorginho, Conte defending the 3 at the back defenders, with Christensen, Thiago Silva, and Rudiger in that back 3. So we had a 5-man block that made it really, really hard for teams to shoot, for teams to score against us. And then he would use the wing backs as midfielders. He came into the Champions League with a system that other teams weren't really using. Am I incorrect in saying that, guys? I don't think so. Like, the only team I could think that was close to doing a 3 at the back was probably what, Atleti, maybe?
Yeah, they were at the time, but you're right. It was one of the best defensive, arguably the best defensive system in the whole of Europe. We were limiting teams to, that Champions League final that we played against Manchester City. We limited them to, less than a handful of chances in that game.
That's the thing, Keyshawn, and this is the thing that I'm saying. This is the thing, when Lukaku was not in the team, neither Werner, Mount, Havertz were playing together. Pulisic and Ziyech popped in. Yeah, they popped in, but Werner wasn't playing because your boy Tuchel didn't want to play him, and he wasn't scoring. He wasn't being effective on that left wing anymore. And Mount, as much as he was scoring hat tricks against Norwich and all these goals against these other low relegation teams, he wasn't scoring in the big games. Havertz was probably a little bit of a shining light when Lukaku was going into poor form, and then come January, February, April, Havertz was managing to get us some goals and score a bit here and there. But even he kind of dwindled down a bit.
It's the inconsistency, though.
Apologies here, but no, my point being is that, like, this is, people found out about our system. And what Keyshawn was saying here, like, we couldn't score for shit. We were creating chances. Even in the Tuchel second season, the full season, we were creating chances, but we weren't scoring them. Even with your boys, Mount, Havertz, Werner. Ziyech wasn't playing every game. Pulisic wasn't playing every game. So it's just like, what are we talking about with the attack? Like, the attack wasn't good. The attack was broken. It was very broken. And it's still, till this day kind of is. But the thing is, like what Vic was saying before, to address what you were saying, I didn't mean to ignore you, but it's that, yes, we weren't in this form, but we were heading towards this form. That's why I said the analogy, what I said before. When Boli and Igbali came in, it was essentially ripping the Band-Aid that was holding us together. Because you can't have that forever. We were papering over cracks. The problem is still there. We just actually want to fix the problem, so we ripped it out. And yes, a bit of an issue right now with the way the team played. Our season last season was the worst season we've ever had. It's absolutely horrible what we went through, right? I'm not forgiving it. I'm not saying this is good, but if the trajectory is now let's improve and go better, and now we have an actual organization, now we have a system, now we have a plan going forward, then I'm all for it. Obviously, it's hard to say it's working right now because we're not there yet. But in 5 years from now, in 6 years from now, 7, who knows? Maybe by the end of the season, if we're looking at progress, we're looking at results, then you guys aren't going to be talking about this. You guys aren't going to be using this against the owners. I would hope that you guys would be reasonable enough that if we are getting results, if we are winning consistently, if we are looking like, if we're going in the trajectory that Arsenal is right now, then I would hope you guys would be like, you know what, the ownership is the right thing. We're now looking, more stable. Now we're not looking as inconsistent like we were under Roman. Hassan, I want to give you a chance to talk and discuss and add on to anything that we just mentioned.
Yes. Thanks for having me on, Marshall, and it's good seeing you guys. Good being back on the show. And I hear what you had to say, Marshall. And yeah, I mean, the ownerships wanted to change everything from top to bottom, and the only way they're gonna do that is by replacing everything and everyone that Abramovich has brought in. Whether we question, I mean, I get the criticism from the ex-players and the fans as a whole when it came to sacking the staff, the stadium stuff and stuff like that. But let's be honest.
I mean, to add on to that too, which I forgot to mention, I do agree that maybe we should have done it more progressively and not as quickly as we did. Maybe we should have been slow in the approach, but I mean, it is what it is. We are where we are right now. You're not going to figure out these mistakes and learn from them unless you actually make them. But go on, Hassan.
I think the ownerships wanted a whole new stuff that they trust, rather than having X ones that will contradict their decisions. Because I feel like a lot of them, I think Boli and Ekbali definitely learned firsthand with Tuchel, like the differences between their visions and the expectations between both sides. And I think they wanted like a whole staff and a whole coaching system that has one philosophy and that will actually cooperate with them. And it's understandable, it's their business now, and they are trying to do something, or they're trying to fit in a model and hopefully have everyone on board of it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mistakes that have happened, which is normal, which is natural. But when it comes to football, these types of mistakes, they are quite punishing in the footballing business. Look at Barcelona, look at Everton. When things go wrong from a ownership perspective and a scouting perspective, you're set back 5-6 years. My only criticism is spending the amount we had on the players that we've had. Because it's good to bring in youth. I'm not gonna lie, I'm all for it. I'm all for bringing in players that I don't know. I'm all for it. But the problem is bringing too many. I think that's a fair criticism. But Boli has his model. Boli has his set of plans, and so has the recruiting department. I think they're going along and accepting it as well. So at the moment, I'm in and out with Boli at the moment, but I still have that bit of hope that he does turn it around a bit, and the mistakes do not repeat themselves, because we will be in a very, very sticky situation if the mistakes end up repeating. We'll be in the Barcelona situation. But other than that,
I don't think it'll be that bad.
No, because look. If we break down, if we break down,
have a crystal ball that tells us the future.
No. I'm not talking about Barcelona in terms of financial. Look who we got at the top, man. We literally got the owners of Dodgers cash injecting us. That's not going to be the problem. I'm talking about the transfers things. FFP. We've amortized our deals over 8 years, but we can't keep spending the way we're spending for another 3-4 windows if it goes wrong. But yeah. The only criticism is bringing in too many youths and expecting half of them to work out and perform their best seasons to get to top 4 currently, because we've signed Nicola Jackson, Last season was probably his best ever season. He scored 12 goals. We've signed Mudryk from the Ukrainian league about how long ago? About 8 months ago, 7 months ago. I don't think he's got double digits ever in his goals or assists. Same with the Noni Madueke. And Kuku, good signing. We've still not seen what he can do in the Premier League. I'm confident. My expectations of him, I believe he'll get around 12
Real
to
quick,
15
Chris,
goals. I
before
think
you
that's
go.
realistic.
Real quick, Chris, before you go. Blue Inner, listen. I don't disagree with what you're saying here. Not at all. What I disagree with is this idea that Werner, Havertz, and Mount were untouchable. When this attacking three that you're discussing were underperforming their XG constantly.
To Mount.
And the stats back it. No.
Yeah.
Big up Metal Face. Welcome to the stream, brother. No.
Big up, man. Thanks for having me.
I don't think going forward, Werner, Mount, Havertz, the attacking three of those guys were gonna win us anything else. I think they overperformed in that Champions League. They were not gonna get us goals. They were not gonna be a Mo Salah, Sane, and who was the other? Firmino. Yeah, thank you. They weren't going to be that attacking three. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Marshall, they didn't win us anything else. Mount cost us the Carabao Cup final.
And FA Cup.
Fair enough.
Literally, more the Carabao Cup, but Havertz took a penalty that Azpilicueta had to take all of the pressure from the opposition players off of him by holding the ball,
which is fine. I'm not gonna shame him for that. That's fine. I think what Aspie did was.
And I'm not shaming anyone for that. I'm not shaming anyone for that. But let's use it
against him. Yeah,
but let's not go. Yay, Kai Havertz, clutch player. No, Aspie took all the pressure off for him. What did Werner do? Werner barely played that season. Why? Because he's not good enough. He never was good enough.
None of them was good enough.
Metal Face, what were we gonna say, brother? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
He's on mute.
He's muted. He's probably
should I just quickly finish off my point before?
I thought you were done.
No. I've just had a few more things to say. So I think the ownerships have expectations of top 4, top 5. I believe currently at the moment, unless someone can pull up an article that says otherwise. And my whole point was being that a lot of these signings, we are expecting them to have their best ever season or the best ever performances in their career so far, just to get the top 4 and top 5. And I don't want to be this pessimistic side or this negative side, right? But that I feel like I wouldn't say standards, but my expectations have changed when I've looked at it from objectives, like from my usual positive side, you could say slightly delusional, but I can admit that when I'm wrong. But from an objective side, we are asking too much this season just to get top 5. I feel like, and this is the problem, like the fans themselves, how long will they go without UCL football? How long will they go without bad games? I think, of course, I do hope we win against Burnley, because if we don't, then it's going to get real toxic. But
squeaky bum time then.
Squeaky bum time. But then,
exactly.
This is what I was trying to say. Besides the whole expectations of getting top 4, top 5, which is at the moment, it's looking, when you look at it from an objective standpoint, it's looking a bit peak. I don't know. I don't know like where we're gonna go with this at the moment, and a lot of it's optimism, a lot of it's hope. But the Fulham game, first half we played absolutely phenomenal, punished the mistakes, we played well. It's the second half I'm kind of a bit criticism of, like we just sat back and did nothing, and we're lucky that we're lucky that that Sanchez did a Mendy level distribution and they get punished for it a few times by a quality opposition.
If we did concede that, that's still not.
I mean, hopefully, I'm just hoping that when they come back from the break, they actually start performing well and starting to shape up, because it's going to be a real test for the boys.
But that's the thing as well. It's not that team we still play against Fulham. It's just not our main team. We literally have no right back, technically no left back as well. Like we have no 10 because we have Enzo as a 10. Like I know our number one striker wasn't even playing that game, but I know he's gonna be ready for the next game. I think. We just lost a lot of players, like, and that's what it's gonna be like. We have to be a bit patient.
But
Yeah,
But the
even before that,
performances,
though,
you can't agree that the performances have been a little bit underwhelming the second half.
I thought the last. I think yeah, I
Facts,
know, but
facts.
mainly since when Chilwell dropped off left
Why?
wing, I
Why
thought
was the Can I ask why the performance was underperforming?
It's because majority we sat back, we allowed
was on
them
the
to
back foot.
We
open
were
up.
2-0 up though.
I don't think
Hang on
we
a
sat
minute.
back
was-
like that. Though.
Hold on, but you wouldn't have said that under
sorry,
Mourinho.
Marshall. We weren't open.
Yeah,
We
he
had
parked the bus,
we had
though.
one chance. Sanchez, we weren't open at all. That's
We,
a
yeah, but we
fallacy.
were, yeah. I'm sorry, but
What was
casually, yeah, we were top of the league when he parked the bus.
No.
I get that, but like I know, like I think that was the game plan, is to let them have more possession so that we can open them up and attack them on a counter. Like that, I think that was part of the
We
tactic.
hit the post, then Enzo.
That's just what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to compare both. You know.
We had complete
No,
control of that game.
Enzo's shots were they weren't harmful at all. Enzo's shots, one was way past, and one was.
But the thing is, Andrew, we're always expected to be control of the game against lesser oppositions.
Why? Hang on.
Because that's what we do in the Poch, don't we? Possession based.
How many players were
Because
missing?
you just hang on. Because you just said previously about expectations. The way we've played this season, why would you expect that?
Well, standards in the mud,
That's true.
standards on the
That's
floor,
true.
man.
It's
The
not about
standards are on the
It's
floor.
not about
It is about the standards, because
No,
the standards are
because that's
where we are.
part of Poch's tactics. Part of Poch's tactic is to keep the. Quickly, we've always been keeping the ball.
One at a time.
Hang on. It's not about standards. It's about
He's asked to be
full. It's how we played this season. To expect us to be in control.
Yes, Andrew, but
previous games doesn't make any sense.
I've based the control part based on the current stats that we've had. We've always had possession for the last couple of games.
Hassan, where did possession get us? Look at our record.
But this is what I was trying to say when Andrew was asking me why I expected us to have control on possession. We've always had it, whether we are not.
Yeah, but it's not gotten us anywhere. It's not gotten us anywhere. And at the end of the day, if you're complaining about possession after a 2-0 win where we limited them to one chance where the goalkeeper was able to save it with speed, that's style over substance.
I'm not criticizing the possession.
I know where you're coming from, Hassan. Like I know we didn't win pretty, but at the end of the day, right? How many games under Tuchel were we in possession, playing this pretty football, whatever, right? Where we were controlling the game, and it's gotten us nowhere, and even sometimes has lost. Even this season, you look at Poch. How many games did we have full possession and we didn't win the game?
Oh no, we've had quite a lot of them games.
At the end of the day, like, you would agree, you would rather have the result than the performance per se.
Oh, 1,000,000%. We've always been a results-based business. 1,000,000%.
But also,
that's not to be critical, you know.
But sorry, I also agree with the play style we've been playing lately with regards to less possession, because the stretch we're gonna have coming up with the next 7 games are against teams that are also going to be possession-based like us. Kind of a way higher quality Fulham, obviously. But if we do well against Fulham, such as with counterattacks and transition and so on and so forth, for example, when Enzo was giving that outside the foot pass to Cole Palmer, that's a clear thing that we need to do against teams like Arsenal, against Tottenham, against City. Obviously, way higher in terms of quality. But if we're good defensively, which we have been, because we're apparently #1 in clean sheets for Sanchez.
Yeah, we're joint. Yeah, I think.
And top 4 defenses in the league. So it's never been our defense that's been the issue in terms of our draws and losses. It's been majority our attack. So if our attack is better in transition with players like Modric, for example, playmakers like Cole Palmer, and you have Madueke, and then you have pacey strikers such as Broja, I would rather do that. I'd rather have 45% possession and lull them into coming in. And we know our defense is good enough as for now that we can lull them in, and then if we can counter properly, then why not? Obviously, we didn't make anything out of it with Cole Palmer, but that's obviously, he's 20, he's young. He's going to slowly get better as the season continues as well. And he's been pretty good with the few starts he's gotten for us, from my opinion. So I'd rather have lower possession. And the only reason we had higher possession, sorry, I'm talking so much. Lastly,
you're good, dude.
Is because we were up 2-0. So we let them have the ball more.
Exactly. Like what?
We let
And
them have
also,
the ball more because they're not going to do anything.
I've got another point as well. Just on that, why are we going to exert ourselves at 2-0 down or 2-0 up when we're currently in an injury crisis?
But that's literally.
We didn't even exert ourselves in that second half, and we still saw Caicedo and Mudryk come off. You know, things like that. You know,
you were there when I was in the Discord call. Which, by the way, guys, if you haven't already joined the Discord, be sure to join the Discord. It's a really cool community, a really good way to interact with all of us here on the panel, and also watch games with us and stuff. And you can see some of these backstage things that happen. But like, you were there, Oliver, when I was arguing with Ahmed about the subs that Poch was making. You know, he was head over heels about this Madueke agenda, which we all know about it. We've seen it on the channel. He thinks that Poch doesn't rate matters, which we'll see. But I told him, like, why would you bring on Nani Madueke when you're 2-0 up? Like, why do you need more goals? It's clear that he wants to play defensive. He brought him on with like a minute left.
Yeah, he gave him bash away in minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But like at the same time, like it was all. I don't care. I don't care what happens as long as we're winning games, right? But like, I could clearly see what Poch was trying to do. Sterling was the only attacker on that pitch at 90 minutes. I could clearly see that Poch wanted to defend the lead. Why would you put on an attacker to do that? Why not bring on Leslie Oguchukwu to do that? Why not pack out the midfield like he did? It's just like obvious. So, like when I see that, like exactly, Oliver. You remember that argument? You were there for that. It's so obvious to me that. Why not defend the lead? Tactically, that's a safe thing to do. When you're 2-0 up, you need points right now. We don't need goals right now. We need points in the Premier League. Okay,
sometimes just like 10 goals. That's it.
I get the goal difference and stuff. I get that, but our
goal difference ain't that bad. Look at Man United's goal difference -4. Ours is +1 at least.
Yeah.
And at the very least, let's give confidence to the department where we're best at, which is the defense. Right? We've held another clean sheet. Boost for Sanchez again. Here's the thing, he's been pretty good for us. I know he has bozo moments, but at least with cross collection and so forth, I never have to worry about it. This man's 6'6", okay? Right? And it's building up like confidence in Colwell, who sometimes plays as left back and left center back, right? It's building the defense up at the very least and building a decent partnership with Enzo and Caicedo in terms of not conceding. At least we have to build some confidence somewhere in the team, so I'd rather have Leslie and the rest of the attackers come out. At least let's get some players in form.
And you can even argue as well that game even helped build the confidence in attack. You know, we scored 2 goals. We have a guy like Cole Palmer on the right wing, who's a very intelligent player, threading it all together and just making it look smooth, and that will give the players confidence as well. Like, it's not just we were able to do that across the whole team, and at the end of the day, the result just makes it even more so in terms of that boost that they'll all get. You know.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, like I was just saying, it's just right now we need points. So if I listen, I don't care if we don't win beautifully. We need to just start winning games. You saw what was said before. At Poch, the ownership still expect top 4, still expect to get into Champions League. So we need to start working towards that. Right now, it's it's still grim. It's still early days, but we're seeing that maybe what was missing in the team is some time for it to mesh, some time for chemistry to come into play. And look, come January, I still would like to get a striker, but maybe right now we could start seeing Broja or Jackson start to score goals. We're starting to see the kid that everyone was saying, like, why did we buy this 80 million pound Ukrainian? Why? We're starting to see him perform. We're starting to see him create chances. Now we got Cole Palmer, the same Cole Palmer that people were saying, like, 50 million for this kid. Why don't we just get Kudus? Why don't we get Kudus? I don't really hear those comparisons right now. And what is Kudus doing right now? He's sitting riding bench on West Ham. So
I just think at this stage right now, Chelsea fans need to critique a game at a time and not an entire season as it has been.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very fragile, mentally fragile, not confident squad in terms of the younger players. Like I said, they haven't won a lot of games, so I would just not go overboard. Like for me, I don't think anyone had a really bad game on Monday. Can't really think of anyone had a bad game. Even Thiago Silva was more about clearing the ball instead of passing it, or if we did, he passed it quicker than he had done usually. I just think we I'm still seeing online, Enzo was our worst player, which just wasn't the truth. It's just an agenda. It's now an agenda now in his fan base to critique Enzo for some reason. But I think wins will build confidence. Now, what's going to piss me off if we beat Burnley on Saturday is that now we've got an international break in between. I mean, we're starting to build up some confidence and wins and something like that.
True.
I just think we are at a point where, even as a fan base, like I said, I think we shouldn't go overboard. We shouldn't on the wins. We shouldn't go overboard on the critique at this moment in time, because you've got to remember that I don't even know what this team's going to look like in 6 months' time when everyone comes back. So I mean, I have no idea what this final evolution of Poch's team looks like at this point in time. What I will say is that I think this team, the way it's built now with the injuries and stuff like that, I think works better with a Broha type striker because he is a central figure. Whether you think he's good or not, it doesn't matter. It just means that he'll be up there to stay in a central position where Jackson. I would actually like at some point at Burnley to see Jackson and Broha play together. At some point, with Jackson maybe a bit wider or playing off or something like that. But I think we can just take let's just enjoy the actual win. Everyone played well. We can criticise the second half performance, but maybe Poch was going, do you know what, we're 2-0 up, we don't have to press. I would have liked to press on the next time. I love scoring more goals. But I can understand them going, okay, so we don't have to have much of the ball. Let's have them try and do something. They did one thing. Let's counter-attack, and we nearly scored a third on a counter-attack. So it was just a what's the term? It's a storm, catching the ball, whatever it is. It's just one of those things. It's a perfect storm, essentially, on Monday. And let's keep it going. I'm hearing this, like, Mudryk trained today, so that's a good sign.
That's good.
So let's keep it going. No, Burnley won last night. Not hardly anyone reported that, but they beat Luton. So they got their first win of the season.
Good for them.
But at least it won't be us.
Yeah. So let's move on to Burnley, and hopefully we can finish off strong. Third win in a row. We are, like I said, at this stage at the moment, the way we're built, it's very fragile. It's a very fragile mentality in this squad. And
I think he accidentally disconnected. He may have mishit a button.
Oh, damn it.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know what happened. My Wi-Fi is fragile as well at the moment. So there we go. But yeah, I just think we have to take it one game at a time. People won't, but.
Well, I mean, I wanted to ask you and Chris brought up a really good point.
Oh, okay. My Poch criticism. I think my Poch criticism is justified. I think it's justified, my Poch criticism. I haven't got any criticism for Poch on Monday, or even against really Brighton. I haven't got any Poch criticism, really. I think my criticism is justified. And when I say I'm Poch out, I don't want him to be sacked, which is a confusing message. I'm just Poch out on him betraying his standards, betraying what he did from pre-season to now. That's what I'm out on. And do you know what? I'm glad. I'm not glad of injuries, but I'm sort of glad now he's being forced to actually utilise the entire squad now.
Sure.
Seeing who's the phony tough and who's the crazy brave. That's what I want to see. By the way, I thought again Disasi played well again on Tuesday. That's when I mentioned. I thought he played well again.
Absolutely.
I don't understand why he gets so much criticism.
As he has another one that's very strange in his fan base that he's targeted.
I think it's because he's slow. I think it's because he's slow, and people have already named him like the French
But he's not.
Maguire.
John Terry was
No,
that's
like that's the
captain, man.
internet
I
thing.
think his slowness is
I know.
overblown as well.
I know.
I just don't think he's. I don't think he's that slow. We're not talking like, like John Terry standard or Maguire standard or something like that. But he played well. So.
Sorry, Surfer. Just want to add it to your point about criticizing the manager. It is no coincidence that we're playing better when we're playing the same kind of play style as preseason.
Yeah.
Right. It's no wonder where.
Which is what we wanted.
I know Colo's still playing left back right now, but it's no wonder still that we're playing way better when we have an actual double pivot. We don't have a 3 at the back where we're more defensive. Because we need more creativity, right? That's why we need more Cole Palmer and so on and so forth. We've been calling
from that since
after Liverpool, I would say.
Yeah, and even to Liverpool, I think he changed when he saw Liverpool's lineup. I'm convinced of that. I'm convinced he went ultra defensive because he saw them going ultra attack, and it nearly paid off. Actually, if you think about it, it nearly paid off for him.
Oh yeah, we should have won that totally.
I think from what maybe Nottingham Forest, maybe something like that, when we were like that.
Yeah, I'd say Nottingham Forest because that was Caicedo's first start. The games before that, he wasn't available to start.
Nottingham Forest, Villa game, stuff like that was one of the ones where we were like, why are you still playing? Even then, though, we changed it though. So I just think, I think you're right. I think it's like, well, I can understand. The greats have done it in one-off games. They've changed their tactics in one-off games. Jose Mourinho said to it at Chelsea all the time. One-off games, he would just tweak something, change the formation, or as an extra defensive player in, and just change it for a one-off game. But it's like when it wasn't working for those like games in a row, it was like that was the problem. It's like, well, go back to what you were doing in pre-season. It just didn't make any sense. That's why I was pissed. No one ever asked him that question. Probably won't ever ask him why he did not do this from, say, the West Ham game onwards or something like that. Why he didn't do that. But I agree with you.
And I also think,
and we always said, give players a run in the team. Let's see what they can do. Just give them a run in the team.
I also think that cam position for us is very important for me.
Yes, I agree.
Personally, because it occupies a space that the 5/3 at the back doesn't do. Even though we have a Chilwell running up and down on the left, I think the cam position, because what we have with the 5 or 3 is you have a double pivot of 2, but then that doesn't allow for a link up between the 2 center mids to the winger/striker. But I think the cam position really helps with linking the whole midfield to the attack.
It's about playing players that are more suitable to play that position as well. You know, we saw so many times in the Premier League and just Enzo playing there, and it's not working. And we know he's a quality player. We saw it. We saw him in one of our worst teams of all time last season, and he was the standout. You know, he's a good player. We saw him at the World Cup, and he's playing this 10 position. He can't do it because we know where he's best at. And Gallagher, you know, whether you rate Gallagher or not, at the end of the day, I'm going to take him in the number 10 over Enzo. And look what happened. Gallagher had a much better performance for it. You know, me speaking as someone that doesn't like Gallagher, and you know, Wintersurfer as someone that doesn't like Gallagher, I'm sure he could admit too that Gallagher was good. He, good at worst against Fulham. You know, it was just a quick switch, and it was so obvious. We've been asking this for so many games, and he did it, and it worked. So now you've got to just ask him to carry on. Really, that's the main thing. This is one game. He needs to do this more often now.
Do you guys give I didn't mean to. You guys give this attack a chance going forward? I know it's easy to say we should still go for Ivan Toney, which I think we all agree. Well, maybe all of us. I don't think all of us agree actually. But I would say for myself, I still think we should go for an Ivan Toney, an experienced attacker. But do you still give this attack, this young attack, an opportunity to show what it can do?
I think for the most part, you probably should. Striker might be an area to upgrade in. Maybe even you probably need to get a backup left winger as well, because like we were playing Chilwell there, and you know we got Mudryk. Apparently Mudryk could be okay. He could be okay for the Burnley game, but if Mudryk happened to be out for that Burnley game, we don't have a left winger. So maybe you're going for a backup left winger. Other than that, I think we're well covered on the right hand side. We have Sterling that whenever he wants to turn it on, he can certainly do so. We have Cole Palmer, who was a performance on Monday that went very much under the radar. I felt he's a very, very intelligent player, and we can see that with the way he presses and the way he brings players in. And it's literally just that striker position. And you've got to remember as well, for everyone that had been asking, why did we turn down Felix and all that? We had Nkunku and Carney for that 10 role. So come January, they'll both be back. Carney will be back before then. So it's literally just that striker role when you look at it in terms of maybe you get a starter there. I think Mudrik's had a run in the team and he's been playing well, so keep him in. There's no reason to take him out unless he's hurt. So
this is a comment that was made by Vic about we told you Gallagher, but the work rate thing is not a thing for me with Gallagher. It's what he does with the ball. And yeah, he played well at Fulham, but I'd still rather see Caicedo, Enzo, and a 10 of either Nkunku or Chukwuemeka or something like that.
Or even Palmer.
Or Palmer or something like that. Gallagher's, listen, I'm not averse to having Gallagher as a squad player and coming on and doing the job. I'm not every player we have has work rate. It's not the issue. It's the actual quality of their passing, it's the quality of their shooting, it's their decision making that I question. That some of them are avoiding or lack of. Gallagher's played well mostly this. Okay, it's a mixture really for me with Gallagher. Like for me, when against Bournemouth, I thought people were over criticising him, and then the next couple of games he was actually crap. You know what I mean? And then he was good against Fulham. But I think the thing is though, I still think the club would easily sell him if they got an offer.
That's always been the report.
Yeah. They got enough for him.
They value him for his monetary gain more than they do his on-field contribution.
He's a huge profit for them. Massive profit for them. And if you're then thinking, well, to keep Leslie and you got Lavia potentially coming back with Enzo and Caicedo, I don't know where he plays. Do you know what I mean? I have no idea where he plays if you keep all of them, right? There's literally 5 players with two positions, if you think about it. But that doesn't mean I don't think he's not played well. He has played well in certain parts. And Monday, like the rest of the guys, he played very well. But telling me he brings work rate when I know he brings work rate, that's not the issue. Can I just say right now, I expect work rate from my players. It's their job. So that's not a real boost for me or a boast. It's not really even an attribute.
Especially from young players that aren't tired and battered and at the end of their career.
Yeah.
And also with regards to Gallagher, it's based on reports we've been seeing today with Pies and I think Chelsea HQ saying that if Andre Santos doesn't get enough game time, he might return during January transfer window.
Another one.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. So with regards to Gallagher, you got another centre mid. Exactly.
6 players for 2 places.
Right. And that's a young player you've spent 20
I
million to 25 million.
I can't lie. I think with Santos, what will probably happen there, we'll probably just try and send him on another loan, but have it be a much more well-advised loan where he's actually going to get into a team and where the team he's going to isn't going to then go and buy 4 midfielders and make him an 8th choice option. And that's the real problem here. Like the fact that Santos was one of our best players in pre-season, and then we buy Leslie Ugochukwu, who didn't play a single minute in pre-season, and Poch takes a look at him at training and he's like, right, I'm keeping you, Santos, you're going on loan. I think that says it all. Like, Poch can't be of the belief right now that he's ready just based on that decision at loan, unless I'm missing something.
Maybe we could send him to Strasbourg.
We can't though because we've used up our maximum amount of overseas loans.
Does that count even in January?
Well, yeah, because it's
or is it reset or some shit.
It counts for the season.
It counts for the whole season. Okay, that's what I was asking.
Unless we record someone from an overseas loan, like I know we've got like Charlie Webster who's playing in Belgium, I believe. Maybe you could recall him to make a space because I'm pretty sure Andre Santos is going to make it much further in the game than Charlie Webster. But I mean, I don't even know how realistic that option is. Is there a break clause in everyone's loan agreement, especially those overseas players? Because that's what it really depends on. Or the alternative is that you send Santos onto a domestic loan. But like I said, that it has to be well advised. You can't send him to a club where he's not going to get an opportunity. And he's not getting an opportunity. He's not missing out on opportunities because he isn't a talented player. It's because of just the numbers. Look at that Forest midfield. There's no chance for him, even in the cup games.
I think looking at hindsight, we shouldn't have really, the way that Forest have done their transfers, we shouldn't even really send him there because it was like they look at their transfers the past 4 windows. It's like an NBA overall squad thing. You know what I mean?
I mean, Surfer, people complain about the way we've done transfers. They're just like, if we're bad, they're just
a scale.
We would have been better off keeping him ourselves and at least having Poch monitor his development. We had just as many options in the midfield.
Those are the options of keeping him or sending him out alone. Yeah, I agree. The way it is now, we should have kept him because he might have played it, a bit. I'm convinced they're going back to Gallagher that Poch kept him because he's played in the Premier League for like 4 years. I'm just convinced of that.
But so here's the thing, though. This is what I wanted to get at, and I'll read these tweets and then I'll come back to you, Andrew. Mauricio Pochettino will now be more involved in transfers from January onwards. And then the next tweet is Pochettino. I think, like I told before, when the transfer window was closed, I need to be more involved now in every single decision. I think we need to start identifying, and we need what we need for January. I think. Even if the ownership do want to sell Conor Gallagher in January, I think Poch is going to do everything in his power to block this. Because I don't know if you guys remember, Poch, well, it was reported that Poch wanted to keep Mason Mount. So what's the next best thing? Conor Gallagher.
Right. I understand that. I just think, though, if or when Lavia returns and he plays him a bit more, the Conor Gallagher effect or the need for him so highly from Poch may change.
Maybe
in terms of that. He's got another option. Like you say, we don't know what we're going to do with Santos. I don't think really Santos will play that much part in the Poch's thinking. But him, okay, he wants to be involved in transfers. That's fine. Then if that's the case, then it's reported he's involved in transfers even more than he has been. Then the pressure, well, already pressure anyway, but it falls on him then, because then his talent ID gets exposed, right? His talent ID then comes into mind, okay, you wanted this, why did you want this? I think it has to be a collaborative effort, I really do. I always want a manager to be involved in some sort, or have at least a say, or at least have that player on the list of players that he wants. Do you know what I mean? That he wants to work with. I've no problem with that. Ivan Toney transfer is an interesting one. If he does come to us, whether Poch sees him as one of the players he wants, I don't know why he wouldn't, but stranger things have happened. But yeah, okay, if he wants to be involved in transfers, fine. Then the excuse of the board have sort of Poch to fail goes away, right? Yeah, goes away.
Mm-hmm. And him being a yes man supposedly as well.
Yeah, he'd be a yes man, because if we then turned down, because he didn't want, well, the reports said that we wanted Vlahovic, or we were interested in Vlahovic, he didn't want really, he wasn't really keen on Vlahovic. Wouldn't suggest he's a yes man, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, we desperately need a striker, I think, in January. Also, because First of all, Washington hasn't played a single minute, and everyone forgets AFCON. So Jackson's gone.
Yeah, Jackson's gone.
Jackson's gone mid-January to Feb. And if he's the informed striker and Broja isn't playing well, then we only have Broja and a person coming from injury.
A returning in Cuckoo, but we have no idea.
That's what I'm saying. He's coming from injury. That's what I was just
from injury. Even then, you got the thing about signing Toney. He's coming back. He's not going to be like. I mean, I think he played behind the closed door friendly or something this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did. He played against the Italian side.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same intensity and something like that. And he might need a few weeks to get up and running. So if we buy him in if they want Toney, they should get the deal done even before the transfer window opens. Should be like a Van Dijk thing. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, it's done, but you don't even have to publicly announce it. So when his ban is over, then you announce it like that. And I think he could then still train, right? I think he could, if I'm
He's
right,
able to train now.
he's allowed to train now. So I don't know what the rules are about when they're I don't
The,
think the rules.
the rules were that he was suspended from all football activities until like late September, I think, and then ever since like September, he's been able to train.
Right.
Mhm.
And then his game suspension ends in January.
Yeah. So I do know he switched his agent. So
So
he has switched his agent. So that's been done. I presume he's looking. He's got 18 months left. 18 months left of his current contract in January. So if you want him, then just announce it as soon as possible. In terms of like before the transfer, like late December or something, like the Van Dijk deal was for Liverpool. So it's done. He arrives at January 1st. He obviously can't play till like I think the 18th of January. I think the ban's over then. We'll play on from there. Build up the rapport with the Chelsea team. If that's it, play a few behind the closed door friendlies. Get as fit as possible. Then introduce him off the bench for a few games. Then start, and hopefully it clicks like that.
Andrew, we'll have FA Cup round then as well, so we can play those games too.
You play what?
If we are to get Tony, we can play him in the FA Cup to get him up to scratch.
Yeah, FA Cup. Maybe if we progress well in January. So, but it's just if that's the player you want, then if we want someone, we're pretty good at getting them. Our record in getting transfers is actually pretty good compared to not getting transfers. So if we really
compared
want
to last season,
I don't think Osimhen in January unless something really desperately bad happens, like he has a real bad falling out. I just don't see it happening in January. I really don't. But stranger things have happened. So.
Well, even Ivan Toney could,
I doubt that. He'll go Arsenal. He'll go Woolwich.
Think
He's
so?
an Arsenal supporter as well.
Sorry?
Tony, he supports Arsenal. He'll go
So
Arsenal.
Jadon Sancho supports Chelsea.
Yeah, he wasn't offered a 300k contract though, was he?
Okay, but John Terry supports Man United.
He didn't come through Cobham though, did he?
It doesn't matter. This whole he supports whoever really doesn't matter. People need to get off that. It doesn't matter at all.
And I doubt Tony will join our club.
Why?
Seeing the state we're in as well. If Arsenal offer a contract, he'll jump ship straight away.
You don't think we can outbid Arsenal?
Pardon? No.
You don't think we can outbid Arsenal?
No, not with the state that we're in. We're not getting Champions League.
He said outbid them as in finances.
I didn't ask that. I
we can't outbid them, bro. We're in the Did you not see Bowley took out another 500 million loan?
That's for the stadium.
Hopefully
that's for the stadium. That's for the stadium.
They're kind of done that now. They spent their billion. That was meant to be over 10 years. The Glazer clause, that was meant to be over 10 years. They spent it in...
No, it wasn't. The Glazer clause is that they can't take dividends out for 10 years. That's the Glazer clause.
No, yeah, and there was also, he cleared the debt so they could spend 1.7? Something like that? 1.7 billion over 10 years.
It wasn't over 10 years. It wasn't over 10 years. It was just to spend
it. Was over 10 years.
It wasn't over 10 years.
No, it was over 10 years.
It wasn't over 10 years to spend 1.7 billion. It was to spend that.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually a thing to spend it over 10 years.
I'll look and I'll bring it up.
There definitely was something relating to they have to spend a minimum of this.
The debt was like around 2 billion, around that. He cleared off the debt, but they had to agree to spend 1.7 billion in transfers in the transfer market over 10 years, and also other stuff for the stadium and for the women and whatnot. So they wouldn't ruin the club. That's what it was, and they spent that 1 billion within 2 windows, all on unproven players as well. Because I agreed with much what Hassan was saying, how he got rid of all the back staff too early, too rash. Players like Mudryk, Madueke never got double digits GA. Like, all of that's true. The one thing I'll say is our defense is really good. The defense is really good. The midfield is okay, but they're abysmal. How we have Michael Jackson leading our lines and Broja as the backup is beyond me. I don't know how we got that. And I think we won the game 2-0 the other day, but like Andrew said, we need to take it game by game because we're not the Chelsea we once was. Our standards are on the floor with these new owners. They're not changing their model, so the standards have got to be dropped. We've been in relegation form since T was sacked, right? So I think we need to be patient. See how the Burnley game plays out, and not get on our high horse because we beat Fulham 2-0. And them goals were made by Fulham mistakes as well. It's not like they were on the plate, and we created them chances. They were from mistakes.
I mean, the first goal I wouldn't say, but the second goal,
the first goal was a brilliant counter attack.
Yeah. Fair
And the second goal was because of Cole Palmer's pressing.
The goal, I'm very surprised Mudryk scored that. I thought Mudryk may have got an assist. None of us was thinking Mudryk was gonna score that.
Well, it's because everyone wants to jump the gun on Mudryk. Like you said it yourself. Like you said, let's be patient, take it one game at a time. The same thing can go for Mudryk. Like, listen, maybe just me.
He's not got a goal for 8 months for a big signing like that. What was it, 60?
But Metalface.
Potter and Lampard as our managers in that time, by the way.
Potter, Lampard as our managers is one factor. The second factor is he didn't get enough. When was the last time he got a run of games like this?
He didn't get a run of games, and if he did,
that's what I mean.
That's
what I mean. Like, finally give him a run of games, and maybe he'll start showing you something. Yeah, he's not getting us goals and assists every game, but you see, he's creating. He's doing better than the Chilwell on the left wing.
That's a given though, but like
I know, but like we're getting something out of it.
Yeah,
now.
but like you see the game on game improvement, and it didn't start. You know, what was the first game he started? Was it the I can't remember. Was it the Forest game? Or maybe
the season?
Yeah, the first start this season for Mudryk.
I think it was the Fulham, the
Forest game. Yeah, well, you know, see, he didn't start with a goal or an assist, and there were several moments in that game where it was frustrating, but. You see the glimpses where he creates two chances that could have been converted and they weren't. And you build, and now he's gotten his first output. So you're assessing. What?
Wait, what do you mean I want to give Mudryk time? Yes, I want to give him time because we never gave him time. Like, what? I'm not going to buy a player for that price and not give him opportunity to prove himself.
I don't know if to be fair, there's a big blame on MJ as well. MJ, he's not finishing the chance. There's so many chances.
Oh, Michael Jackson. Well, yeah, fair enough. I get that.
But the thing was like Mudryk, it was like, you remember when he got? I think Poch won for like 9 minutes or something, one game or something like that, and people were still criticising his performance. It was like, what do you expect him to do in 9 minutes? Was it the first one?
Everyone's criticising Enzo, and
He
was not doing at the 10 at all. He missed that penalty against West Ham.
Because he's not a 10.
He was a 10 at all. And to be honest, I don't think he was that great in the pivot, but he was really good. He was really good in the pivot.
I just think
I'm not letting you trigger me, Glue.
I can understand people's frustrations and everything like that, and I understand that. And I think you can have like, yeah, you want the club to have what they had before, but it's really difficult to. When people are like, yeah, well, we should be up there, the next thing they say is like, yeah, but these players aren't good enough. So when they say like, oh, our standards are high, it's like, how can you apply them then to players you don't rate? You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like
people are confusing expectations for ambition.
I think you need to strike everyone needs to strike a balance, right? A logical balance as well. Go, okay, if I don't rate the player, then how can I be disappointed if they don't do this, and this, right? But I still think though these guys should still be doing better than they are right now, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's what they should be doing better right now. That's the difference. They're not going to be the best. There's no way this side's winning a title anytime soon. So,
like I said, we'll be lucky to make Europa, and it won't be top 5 this season because the people that we've got repping us in the UCL. Fair enough, Newcastle got the result today.
Oh, you think because they'll go out, the coefficients will be down? Is that what you're thinking?
I don't think we'll get top 5. No, I don't
No,
think
I agree. I said I think I said just about 6. That's at the start of the season. I just said that's because I didn't think they were good enough. Because I thought at least five teams, and now possibly with addition like Spurs and something like that, maybe not even 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't. Yeah. I think. Can I ask you? Would you think 6 would actually be a positive if we got 6 this season?
Yeah,
would you treat it as a positive?
I'm saying we'll be lucky to get 6.
No, but if we got 6,
now,
would you? If we got 6,
because
right?
the
That's what I'm
standards
trying to say. So, would you be surprised though, like in a good way? Would you be surprised?
I would be surprised in the good 6.
Yeah, so it'd be something to build on, right? Be like, oh wow,
we relegation form since
yeah,
Potter was sacked.
You're absolutely right. Yeah,
with Potter, we've been bad, mate. And Champions League won't be top 5. It will be top 4 because the English teams won't go far. I don't think.
Oh, you think like someone like Man United will go out the group stage?
United will get Europa. They'll drop down to Europa. Arsenal, they might make it out of the group. They might do, but I doubt they'll survive the what's it called, the knockout stages. City, they're well.
Banking on them, City, really.
And Newcastle's unpredictable, right?
And Newcastle is questionable.
Yeah, they're unpredictable, aren't they?
They're unpredictable. But that Milan game was,
they were shit in that Milan. Yeah, they were shit in that Milan away game. They were crap. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The group they're in now.
No. Actually, you know what? He's actually pretty spot on with that because the way Man United are playing, there's no guarantee they even finish 3rd in their group. No.
They're getting Europa.
He's right. They might even get Europa League spot. He's right. And then all this with the 5th, they're going to get it and stuff like that. That might come under jeopardy then.
And also, one more thing, Conor Gallagher, I know you lot don't rate him as a player, but Conor Gallagher has been our most consistent midfielder this season. He's been the most consistent, and in that game, the Fulham game, he was first for everything, near enough.
Listen, I have. Well, even I think even Ahmed can. I think even Ahmed can speak on this. Like, I have not been that critical on Gallagher. I in fact think that I'm of the belief that every game that he's played so far, he's improved on the previous one. The only complaints that I have about Conor Gallagher is that going forward with the attack and with passing forward and being progressive on the ball, he's not the best, and I'd rather have someone else in that position. And I'd rather, just put him, rather than have him, because I think tackling wise, interceptions, he's been phenomenal. He's been more control of his body this season than last season. Last season, this guy was fouling for fun. So I think he's been improving under Poch, and I don't mind him in the lineups, but it was what we were lacking in the midfield, like attacking wise, is what was my criticism. But last game he played fantastic. What were you gonna say, Metal Face?
He's still not Chelsea level. He's not Chelsea level.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
But he's been the most consistent midfielder. And he's still not Chelsea level.
You could maybe argue that, but the problem is, like, yes, he has been our most consistent midfielder, but the problem is you have players around him like Enzo Fernandez, who we've played Gallagher in a way that Gallagher can play fine, but you're detracting from Enzo by playing him in that 10 role. We saw against Fulham, Poch flipped it, and it didn't detract from Gallagher's game. Gallagher had an equally good, if not better, game in that 10 role, and Enzo's performance was night and day from what we've been seeing in the number 10. So it's a matter of profiling. At the end of the day, I'm fine for Gallagher to be in the team at the moment, but I don't want him to be used in a way that detracts from other people, where he's taking their positions away, where they can thrive and make us as a unit, as a team overall, they can make us better.
You see, Gallagher for me falls under what I just said earlier. I have a certain opinion of Gallagher at a level that he can hit. So the reason I don't really criticise him that much is because I'm not expecting him to do those things. No. So that's the thing. I do think he's played well in certain games. Monday he played well.
He's been the most.
For me, he won't. Like when someone says we say standards to Chelsea, right?
The standards on the floor.
I think he has he won't smash through a glass ceiling for me. That's why I say he's like a good squad player overall. You know what I mean?
Because he's not Chelsea level.
No, that's the thing. But
he's never been Chelsea level though.
No, and it's. But I think with all like all the guys that come through at Cobham, I think we think they are going to be.
We've got a special place for them.
Yeah, I think we think they're going to be the best, or they're going to be great, and something like that. And some of them just aren't. They're going to have a certain level to them, and he's going to be one of them that has a certain level to them. He will stand out. He will always stand out in a club like Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
because Crystal Palace aren't good.
They're a mid-table club at best.
Yeah, exactly right. So he will stand out, and that might be a good thing. Do you know what I mean? It might be like, it might be like a James Ward-Prowse thing. You know, when he stands out. He's
a tidy player. Like I would not want to see him go to Tottenham because I think he'll do very, very well in Tottenham. You know,
I think he'll be utilised better. He would have been utilised better at Spurs.
Yeah, exactly. With Bissouma, Maddison, and Corner.
There'll be a certain position. There'll be a certain position for him.
There'll be a role
and it would have been in one of those. It would have been one of those positions behind Maddison.
Right? Yeah, to press, get the ball back. You know, you do good for them.
I've always said, if you simplify what you want from Gallagher and tell him, I think he can do it very well.
Yeah, he works like a Trojan, mate.
If you then ask to do other things that's not in his repertoire and he tries them, he doesn't look good.
Yeah,
he just doesn't look good, and that's the thing that Poch needs to get through his own head, and not ask Gallagher to overreach what he can do, or else he just doesn't look good, and then it's a detriment.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
But one more player, Disasi. A lot of people have been criticising Disasi. I think he's been okay. He's had a few moments like that Fulham game. He headed it out one time, went straight to a Fulham player, and he got him an assist for Fulham. But I think he's been okay I think he's fifth choice. He's fifth choice.
He's overly criticised. He's overly criticised.
Yeah, but Levi, Disasi, Silva, Fofana, and Badiashile, they're all over him for me. He's a good fifth choice.
I can't lie. I'm not factoring in Fofana until he can show that he stays fit, and Silva's not going to be here beyond this season either. So that's two already out for me.
I think Fofana, you're right. I think Fofana has to. You know what? For me, you're right. Fofana has to play nearly an entire season next season next 2 years without being injured.
Well, yeah. For Fofana, he's a silky ball. He's a fucking great baller.
Oh no, we agree.
He's had two major injuries in very, very short time, very young as well. It just depends how he comes back, because an injury can ruin a player's career. Like in Cuckoo, we've not seen him deliver it in the Premier League. He looked good in pre-season, but we've got to see him do it when he comes back, because the injury could have ruined him.
You're right.
We know.
But that's the thing too. Like, people like to criticize Mudryk for the price tag, and we have one in the chat currently criticizing him like crazy. He's not proven enough, but people like to criticize him for mostly because of the price tag. I don't know why people don't have that same real quick, Middleface. I don't know why people don't have that same type of criticism for Fofana or Chilwell. I'll throw Chilwell in here for the price tag. Hold on, the price tag that they came in and the availability they've had. Because you tell me, is Fofana worth the price we paid for, despite how much he's been playing? Has Chilwell been worth the price that he came in for, despite how much he's been playing?
Yes.
So why is one different than the other?
Because with Chilwell, right? Chilwell, he was very we with under Tuchel, the wing backs was heavily relied upon. The wing backs were top of the league until both of the wing backs was injured, Reece and Chilwell. Chilwell is arguably one of the best left backs in the league, one of the best. He's up there. I know a lot of you lot don't like Chilwell. I don't know why.
Well, this season, I would say.
As a wing back, he is one of the best in the league. There's a reason why Pep wants him. Chilwell,
But let me
he's so
let me ask you
going
this,
forward.
Metalface. That season you're talking about, which again, that season with Chilwell was the left wing back, and he got injured after Juve. I agree with you. The best left wing back in the league, best left back in the league, easily. But
still is.
then he was out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Season before that,
Can I just ask Metalface, what makes him the best right now? Can you like tell me what you like about him?
I think his goal ability.
Like one of the best. He's one of the best. All of the attributes, all of that. He's so good going forward. He's okay defensively. He's not the best defensively, but he makes up for it going forward. And he's experienced. He's only 24, 25. He's one of the senior players. He's got given vice captain for a reason. I think the managers, and I think you lot just over criticizing him so much.
Well, no, I get that, and I think the criticism is merited. But again, outside of that Frank Lampard Tuchel season where Tuchel took over and won us a Champions League, he was not available. He was not available. He was really good that season, right? And he was part of that Champions League winning team. After that, he wasn't available for most of last season under the season with Tuchel, right? Because he got hurt. And then last season, same thing, and we had a shit season. And this season, he's not been performing well either. Yes, he's been left wing, but even at left back, he hasn't been that sound. So 50 million for that much, that player who's only appeared that much.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind telling them because availability is the best ability, and he's just injured all the time. Same with Reece. I wouldn't be mad if we sold Reece as well to Madrid.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have that conversation if it doesn't get better with him.
Yeah, but I don't.
Just gotta be honest.
Because he needs to get the surgery, but he don't want to get the surgery because of his dad, doesn't Reece James? Because his dad was a player, he got injured, and he just doesn't swear by the surgery. He needs the surgery, but I don't think he'll get it. And I think if Madrid comes calling, which I think they will, 80 million, no less than 60, 80 million, I think we should sell him, cash in. Because he's one of the best right backs in the world. There's not many good right backs in the world right now that I can think of. But he's one of the best. But if Madrid comes calling, sell him all day. Availability is the best ability. If you can't play, what good are you? Poch made him captain. He's never had a full season under Chelsea.
Can I?
I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's one of the best.
Can I just say though, when it comes to Reece James, obviously you're saying availability is the best ability, right, Metalface? So why would Real Madrid come in for him? Because why would they then want an injury-prone player? That's what for me that doesn't even make sense. Because like in particularly, they already have someone like Mendy, who was one of the best at his game when he came for them from Lyon, and now he's always injured. So knowing them, and particularly the guys that they have, they're not gonna buy him. They're not gonna buy Reece James. So that's just my point of view. And then in regards to Chilwell, I think the problem with Chilwell is and I've said this before, post-injury, defensively he's gotten worse. I think going forward, you can still say that he does he still does what he does. Right, let's not get that twisted. Right, as a left back or as a left wing back, but defensively though, he has gotten worse in my opinion, and that is kind of like hampered the team. I will say the same when it comes to Cucurella, in the sense that when obviously he's had these two good games now when he was at right back, but his performances as well weren't helping him either, even if we knew the positive and negative of Cucurella. And then the last one is obviously Maatsen. He's at least the one that we know that's been the most informed in his position, even though it was at the championship level. So I don't know, man. But that's for me personally.
I don't think Poch reaches Maatsen as a fullback at all.
No. Oh no, I hear you. I hear you in that one. Yeah, I know. But
and with Cuckoo, I think he was well overrated as well. Cuckoo's been so overrated. In that Brighton game, he was ripped apart by Mitoma, ripped apart, and people were praising him. But I think that Cuckoo is just such a rash player. He's such an untidy, messy player, and it's just disgusting. Every time I watch him, it's just disgusting. Like he's just so rash and so just everywhere, all about the place. I just don't like it. I can't lie to you, I don't like it.
I agree with you.
He's an awful
of course
player,
you agree
man.
with
Wait. No. I agree with him in the sense of what's it called? That Kukurea does have that certain at times he can be rash, right? You've seen it before,
He's
right?
rash all
But
the time.
yes.
He's all over the
but
place.
it's not. But it's not always. It's not always. That's what I would say. It's not always, but he does have that tendency. A player can have a tendency, but doesn't mean he does it all the time. I'm pretty sure Marshall.
It's just his play style. He's just a very aggressive player in general.
He's a very front-footed player. That's what I would say. But again, man, it doesn't really matter to me necessarily. At the end of the day, I've always said this: if you don't want to play Maximin as left back, all right, Chilwell. For me, again, I don't think he should personally be a starting fullback, considering the injuries and everything that he's getting. Kukurea, you know my thoughts, guys. We'll see if the performances continue. If he continues, then fine, we keep him. But if he doesn't continue, I'm not. We need to get another left back in, whether we like it or not. A left back has to come into the squad. So that's what I will say to that.
Yeah, well, I think with the way we're profiling Maatsen, that's going to have to be an option because Maatsen is not a fullback for Poch, so we're going to need at least one left back. You know, unless Cole was being fashioned for that role, which long term I don't want, but I'm just putting that in the air because it could be happening.
So because I've said this before, but the reason why we know why Cole is that. The main reason why he's there is because of Thiago Silva, right? Because Pochettino wants to use Thiago Silva still, and for me personally, I don't understand that we need to start moving on from him. I'm
going to reserve judgment on that until I see Badiashile come back into the starting 11. If I see Colwill at left back with Badiashile in the team, then that point is like null and void.
That's a
so. I'm gonna go ahead, Metalface.
I'm sure, but when Badiashile comes back and Fofana and whatnot, a back four of Colwill left back, he's learning the role. He's been quite good recently. Colwill, Badiashile, because Badiashile gets left centre back over Colwill, over Levi. Right centre back is Sassy or Fofana. Right back James and Christian. Solid back four.
I agree.
Even if centre back get injured, solid back four. Levi, Disassi, solid back four.
We're going to see what happens with that left back position, obviously with Colo. But listen, it's agenda o'clock, and agenda's got to agenda. I got to ask you this, Metalface Doom, because before we were talking about players being the Chelsea standard. You said Conor Gallagher isn't Chelsea standard, so I have to push back and I have to ask you this. Which, by the way, I agree. I don't think Conor Gallagher is Chelsea standard. If we're talking about like the standard that we all are well familiar with, was Mason Mount Chelsea standard?
Mason Mount carried the attack. I'm sorry, I'm not having it, man. I know you lot had your agenda. I'm not having it. Mason Mount, proper Chelsea. He was forced out by the owners.
Listen, whether or not he was forced out by the owners, but that's okay. So you think he was Chelsea standard, and he carried the attack the last 3 seasons?
He was captain, man. That's what he was. He was future captain. John Terry said it. I think Lampard said it. He was forced out. There's 2 sides of the story. He was forced out.
Maybe. Listen, maybe. You're
I mean,
right. I'm not going to argue the forced out.
I will agree with him that he carried our attack, but just look at our attack. That was, as I said before, that's a low bar.
And I will say this now: Palmer will be carrying the attack now. He will carry the GNA this season. Cole Palmer will.
Palmer?
He's the Mason Mount of this season. He will carry the GNA.
Gotcha. But the reason I ask you that is because, like, listen, this is my hot take. Take it or leave it. I think Conor Gallagher is becoming a better version of Mason Mount.
Well,
going into starting this season, I think he has been improving as a player, and I'm seeing, like, in my opinion, Mason Mount's best season was the 2020-2021 season, the season we won the Champions League. Yeah. That's my opinion. I think that's his best season, standout. I think Conor Gallagher, with the way he's been playing this season and how he's been improving, is starting to reach that height that Mason Mount hit that season.
No way, man. You're crazy. You gotta realize Mason Mount that season.
I did say it's a hot take.
He was played out of position. He was playing out of position and he delivered. And in September, he got the same goals or assist. This September, by the way, and you were saying that he ain't Chelsea level. He's been United's best player. And they've
Well,
they've been in the
I
mud,
never
to be
thought.
fair, but he's been-
I never thought Mason Mount was Chelsea level, to be honest. Yes, he was carrying the attack, but that attack was poor for Chelsea level.
and he carried it.
Our
and he's
top
not- he's
goal
not an
scorer,
attacking player.
our top goal scorer, Metalface, our top goal scorer that season was Jorginho. That's not good. That's not Chelsea level.
You're right. It's not good. It's not good.
So that's what I
What
mean.
do
Like, I
you-
don't think he was ever Chelsea
Mason
level.
Mount, he was our best player of the season back to back. Carried us for 3 seasons, and he was right. He was wrongfully forced out the club because the owners wouldn't pay their wages and they wanted to burn it for good. Club him.
One thing I will say, because I kind of like disagree somewhat. I think the first season under Lampard, the second season under Lampard / Tuchel, I would say he was probably our best player. I would agree to that school of thought, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I'll agree to that.
Yeah,
But it was his goal that got us into Champions League.
I'm not.
We agree with you.
No,
we agree with you.
No, we're talking about the first two.
Their best
we're-
player.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm saying Frank Lampard's first season, then the second season of Frank Lampard, and then when it went to Tuchel for the UCL title. Right, for me, those 2 seasons were Mount's best seasons. However, if we're being honest, I do feel like that season where even though he did get that 21 GNA, if I'm not mistaken, that was the season. Tuchel's basically like somewhat first / second season, right? Yeah, I felt like I could see the decline there for me personally, right? I'm not saying that it wasn't the, but there was definitely a decline there, and then obviously the final season didn't go so well for him at Chelsea as well. Now, for me personally, when it comes to Mount, I've said this before. He still needs to improve on quite a lot of stuff. Even if he was to stay at Chelsea, I always made that point. Still needs to improve on his finishing. I think he needs to have better vision, etc., etc. Right? But like, for me, we've lost Mount right now. But like, how much has that actually affected us as a team? I would say not too much, bro. I'll be honest. If we that's all I would say to that, bro. I personally feel like it's not affected us that much now. In regards to whether or not he left, or was it or was it not, right? Like if it was the club's fault or whatever's fault, I always say there were definitely 2 sides to it. I definitely can agree that maybe the club did try to force him out towards the end. I can agree with you on to an extent on that. But at the same time, maybe the negotiations didn't go so well from his side in the sense that maybe he wasn't also helping out either. So there's 2 sides to the story, I would say, at the end of the day. But listen, one thing I will say when it comes to Mason Mount, bro, is that we need to start moving. We need to move on from the brother respectfully. At the end of the day, he gave us a Champions League. We thank you for your services. I always say that. We thank you for your services, but it's now time to move on. Simple.
Move on from everyone else that left as well. Not just
Exactly,
Mount,
bro.
everyone else.
It's the same. It's the same thing, bro. Yeah. It's the same thing with all players. I always say that, man. Thank you for your services. Respectfully, and we move on. Because, it's not even one thing. It's not even like we can say he's even putting up trees at United. Like do you even go up saying like you can say the same about some of the other players. That's all. At the end of the day, big up Mason Mount. Thank you for your UCL. Obviously, we respect you from coming from Chelsea and everything like that. But good luck at United, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah, not even a good luck thing still. Like fucking.
Oh, okay. So. You're even worse than me on that one. Stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't blame him for leaving, but fuck him if he's playing for a rival. Fuck him. But one question, who do you lot think will deliver us the 30 GNA? Because someone's got to break the GNA that Mount set, the 30 GNA. And who do you think will score the next free kick? Because he was the last person who scored a free kick, hat trick, and got us the 30 GNA. So who do you think will break them?
Can I answer this one? I think it'll be Reece. That's gonna probably be on the set pieces, and I think Reece. Listen, I think Reece's set pieces. I think Reece's set pieces have been very, very, very under the radar. I think he can take good set pieces, or it could be Raheem Sterling too. But he did come close this season.
Really on the pitch.
That's what I mean. If he plays more, maybe he gets more opportunities to do free kick. I think Reece has it in him. That's just my opinion. But onto the 30 GNA thing, right? Glue Inner asked this earlier. Marshall, what are your views on Nkunku? I think Nkunku is a very, very important player in this team. unfortunately, we got really unlucky with the knee, but I think this is the player that has the ability to really get our attack going consistently, and he'll get himself in position to score as well, which we saw in the preseason. He can score goals. You know, they weren't like super smooth or whatever, like as convincing as like Jackson, which right now Jackson, we'll see, time will tell. But I think this guy could be the guy. So I'm going to say Nkunku. I don't know if you guys disagree with that.
I just want to know if he can do Premier League or not. That's the thing.
Do you think win the Premier League?
Pardon?
Did you just ask? You just want to know if we can win the Premier League with this team?
No. I want to know if Nkunku can do it in the Premier League. That's what I said. We don't know if he. Because you might say, but that's in Germany. Werner had good GNA in Germany. You know, and especially with his injury, I want to know if he can come back and perform, because injuries can ruin.
He had an injury last season though, and he still ended as the top Bundesliga scorer.
The thing is though, it's like when Mount got that GNA that season, no one expected him to get that GNA that season. Yeah,
Facts.
We have to admit that, right? There was no evidence even the season before when I agree. I thought he played well, but he didn't get the numbers. Whereas like the next season, he got the numbers and I thought he played okay, but he wasn't as well as the last season. That's the thing. There was nothing in evidence that Mason Mount was going to get a 29 GNA season. And at this current time, there's no one in this squad who you would think, well, you'd think that Sterling, but that'd be at City though, wouldn't it? Would not.
He's on the decline.
He's not got the decision making to do that anymore.
He doesn't have the players around him like he did at City. That's the thing. And Enzo's not that type of player. He'll get you an assist here and there, but he won't get you the GNA. Palmer's an unknown at this time, I think. Really, do you know what I mean? It's like there's no evidence of there's nothing concrete backing him. Jackson's an enigma in the sense that I don't know.
He's not a 9.
Actually is.
Jackson is not a 9.
I don't think he is either.
Maybe a 10. You play better in a 10.
Maybe even a wide player or something. You know what? He's a
good link-up player.
It's like a juiced-up Solomon Kalou.
Yeah.
And well, I think he's so rash. That's all. You know what I mean? It's like, and Mudryk.
Most of our players are rash though.
Yeah, Mudryk is not. There's no evidence of Mudryk getting that either. So at the moment, you couldn't actually put a name down. Maybe it's the best case of not even like singling out one player, hoping that they all can combine and get more than that. Do you know what I mean? They can all, and then building it. We don't have an Eden Hazard or a Juan Mata who can get that anymore. We just don't. We don't have that strike.
Yeah, but Andy, we spent £1 billion, and we've been fleeced for Enzo. Like, I don't see how Enzo's a 105 mil player in any circumstance. Like, fair enough, you won the World Cup, but let's be real. Messi held his hand, and the officials held their hand. They got a penalty. I don't see how he's a 105 million pound player.
I think that was I don't think that was the reason we paid 105 million. Though we paid it in that January window in order to evade the competition in the summer. He would have gone for that price, if not more, in the summer, regardless.
Yeah, but no one was going in for him when we went in for him. No one. We were out.
I think that's the point. No.
Well, that's where that's
what he's saying. He's saying we went in that time to avoid a summer bidding war. That's what he's saying. He's saying we went in there, we overpaid. We know that Benfica sell their best players for ridiculous amounts of money, but I think we just went in there and overpaid because we didn't want to go into a bidding war in the summer. That's all it was. Unfortunately, what I do agree with is that we did overpay for Caicedo as well.
True.
And that's our own fault because we had 3 months to do things and we didn't do it.
That was handled so poorly.
We just stalled, and then we got outbid. Yeah, then we got outbid, and then had to outbid the Liverpool, and that's our own making.
Yeah. The problem is we didn't get him before the rush, though. That's
exactly. That's the
yes.
Because we we thought we were the only ones ever, and we thought we could break Brighton down. And people keep forgetting it. This is a seller's market. Premier League clubs don't really have to sell anymore like they used to. Their best players, or for cheap. They don't have to sell their players for a cheap price anymore. They don't have to do that. And a club like Brighton, who are not like...
What the fuck is that?
Whose background's this?
Is that Ahmed?
Ahmed, fix up, brother.
I got it. Don't worry.
The thing is, though, like a club like Brighton don't have
Sorry,
to sell
my
their best...
app went gone crazy. My apologies, boys.
Yes, a club like Brighton don't have to sell their best players like that anymore for like 20 million or 25 million like they used to. No club has to do it in the Premier League anymore. They just don't have to do it.
We gave Brighton more money than what their club's worth.
Oh,
Yeah, we
Jesus
did.
Christ.
What he's saying is that we've basically secured Brighton's future.
He's not lying.
And that's on the owners, but people want to back these owners. People don't want to bat a bad eye at them. But I think they're mostly to blame on the situation that we're in right now. But everyone wants to blame Poch. Everyone wants to blame some of the players, which they're the problem. But the owners are the reason why.
I think it's a portion though that you can. I think it's important that everyone can take a portion of blame, right? Because
but it's majority on the owners though.
The owners can take blame on how they've spent the money, what they've spent it on, and how they've chose to spend the money. No problem.
And sacking all of the staff, hiring.
But the thing is, though, when a takeover happens, right? It's tended
but when a takeover happens, you don't do that. You don't sack all of the backroom staff that kept the club successful. Like the thing is, though, Arena that could have set us back a couple times. You know, a few bad transfers.
Hold on. Before you answer this, Andrew, real quick, I just want to. Hey, man, what are we talking about? All right, listen, you're here, you're watching. Smash up the like button. What are you doing? Have you ever looked at yourself and took accountability? What are you doing? Smash up the damn likes.
This is the whole point. This is the whole point of this channel, right? This is not an echo chamber channel, right? Well,
listen, I never expected to have this type of conversation with Metal Face. I thought I was going to disagree the whole time.
If you disagree with Metal Face, just challenge him on his opinions. Just challenge him on his opinions. Don't go like, get this guy off. This is like, almost go to an echo chamber channel that says stuff. Metal Face has been... Metal Face has been very respectful.
Yeah, seriously.
Been like that.
I didn't expect this, bro. You're always in chat arguing with us.
He's not sworn at anyone. We'll give everyone a chance on this channel. If you don't like it, anyone's opinion, just challenge it.
But here's the thing, though. Metal Face. Like, I know people want to blame the owners and all this and that. Like, where I disagree with that notion is always when people want to get rid of the owners. They want to like say the owners are going to run us down to the mud and all this. Like, I just think that's too quick of a thing to say when you haven't even given them like the time of day to implement what they're trying to do, this project, whatever you want to call it. I know people hate that word, but this is what this is. It's a project. Right, we're changing the whole way that Chelsea's been run. We're changing the whole way that Chelsea's been doing things and winning. Really. We're changing everything. I agree with you. Like we shouldn't have done it all so quickly the way we did. I think that was a mistake.
It was very, very bad.
It's one of those things that like. Where is the manual on this? Like when people were saying about Arsenal, like, the Arsenal fans were saying, and I'm not trying to compare, but it's just an example. Oh, get Arteta out. Like you don't hear that anymore.
Yeah.
They stuck to with the plan and now it's looking good for them,
Yeah. You know what it is though? If I may just quickly you know what it is? The reality of the situation is and I can understand what Metal Face come from. They did the speed run. And they've done a speed run essentially of what they wanted to do, and part of it kind of was caused by, in my opinion, the fact that Czech left, Marina left. They left of their own volition, by the way. Like we can't whether or not we agree to it or not. That's just facts. They left of their own volition. So that's something that they had no control in doing so. So they asked them to say they didn't want to say it and they moved on. So I think it's a bit unfair on them. Like they had to immediately come in, try to steady somewhat of a ship that already one of your main negotiators left, and the main guy that's doing the what's it called, bringing in analyzing the players is gone, it's a bit difficult for you to begin with. I'll say that at the very least.
Who tells you, real quick, before you go on, who also tells you how to restabilize a club that had just been sanctioned by the government?
Yeah, and I agree with that. A lot of the stuff in the beginning, I agree with. Like, for example, like I hear the summer transfer window stuff, like because obviously Olu Cucurella is left of that summer transfer window. Like they were in
Fafana too.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm Fafana. My bad. I always think of Fafana. My bad. But honestly,
no, I get that.
Like, yeah, but like that summer transfer window was a failure. Like, get to see all those players this summer because of what's happened. But again,
and Sterling too.
Sterling too. But you know, again, we move on. But like, I agree with Metal Face in the fact that they did a bit too fast of a speed run. That definitely is 100% true. And maybe if you had Brand gain one or two more experienced players into the squad, you know, to help out while these young guys are also embedding in, that would have been a bit more of an easier situation, right? But that's all I can say to it, because like I understand, like when they bought Strasbourg, it made sense to me. When you're hearing about them trying to buy Sport Lisbon, I understand all of that stuff because that's what Man City is already doing. Like people like Chelsea were doing that already with Vitesse at one point in time. So yeah, I understand a lot of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, but I think it's happening so fast that it's an issue. And in regards to the ground stuff and everything like that, like if we're being honest, if they can find people that are better, that are better at doing their jobs at a higher quality, surely we should be going for that. Like at Chelsea Football Club, we should be striving to be the best of the best. We should be having the best pitch, the best grounds people, the best people that can do your job. That's all I would say to you on that one, bro. Like if the people that bring in, like for example, the pitch stuff, or like when we had the pitch guy left, they brought in the guy that was making one of the best pitches for Real Madrid for them at the Bernabeu.
And I've heard people compliment that pitch to this season and say like, "Holy crap! Like that pitch has never looked that good in Stamford Bridge's history."
Yeah, well, there's a joke, isn't it? They say that they sacked even the tea lady. But it's true though.
No. The tea lady, I definitely, I'm sorry, that one, yeah. I think people are just doing the extreme thing. They are not gonna sack the tea lady. You get me, Metal Face. You get me, like you should know that too, broski. Like they're doing a little bit of the extreme thing on that one still. They're not gonna sack the tea lady.
I mean, I can't lie though. One thing they do need to work on though is getting this better medical staff, because we can't keep having these injuries.
They got new medical, but the thing is, they got new medical stuff, but like. What's his name? You know, Jazz. Big up to my guy, Jazz.
Yeah.
He actually sent me a tweet, of like Poch's first season under Spurs, which was back in 2016, and they had over 40 injuries, bro, at one point in that whole season.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So a lot of his basically, fitness and style of play may actually be affecting like these players. I would say. Probably.
The thing is, Ahmed, I'd be interested to know what the injury history was at Spurs in the seasons prior to Pochettino being there, because this is the problem. You can maybe put the injuries right now down to his training regimen and them getting used to it, but at the same time, we've had at least 3 seasons where we've been blighted by injuries, and that's with different medical staff as well. So where does what can you really point to there? I don't think it can particularly be just the manager.
But one thing I want to say, when I say the blame's on the owners, it's not them just sacking them. Like in interviews, they say, "Oh, we want to take bets in different markets." They gave Potter a 5-year deal. Also, like they hired Christopher Favell. They weren't giving him, I feel like they were trying to strong arm their way into that as well. So Favell said to Nagelsmann, "Oh, nah, just don't bother coming here." Favell walked in the end. Makalele left. Bruno left. Like I feel like there was a big, like obviously it's hard coming in to but I do feel like they are very, very much a reason why we've been performing the way we were in the last.
I'll counter your point, Metal Face, right? Bruno, for example, was Bruno necessary to be at the club? Like his man Potter left. Did we really need it? But like Potter's left the club. You've got Pochettino in now. Is like, for example, Bruno needed?
No, to be fair, no, but
right. That's what. But like,
thing is, Ahmed, none of us even knew he was here until we saw like a picture of him in pre-season. Exactly. We didn't even know.
Yes, like that's another thing. And like, obviously, you spoke about Bruno Makalele, for example. Makalele's job at the club was very minimal. All he was doing was speaking to the loan guys and seeing how they were doing. Like, if we're being honest again, like, you know, I understand that he's a legend of the club. Let's not get that twisted, right? But at the same time, yeah, the job he was doing was very minimal. It wasn't like something that, you know, you're losing Makalele was going to be the end of the world for us. Like, when you actually dig deep and look and read the articles and stuff, yeah, obviously you understand like what his job is. Like, and he's the other one that you mentioned, Vival. Now, Vival, I'm not
That
sure
one
what's
is
going on
still,
there.
yeah.
That one is still up in there. I agree with you on that one. I'm not sure what's going on there, what's cooking on that one still. But like, when you, I hear like I hear what's going on with the Vival one though, bro. I hear you. See, so I think there's definitely a balance there, bro.
Yeah, but even then, like you could say Bruno, what did he really mean? There's all the little things that really matter, you know. Like they sacked everyone. I don't know what's going on. Like, even with, remember the mentality coach they brought in from rugby, like the New Zealand rugby. It's like they brought in the mentality.
Yeah.
What did he do though? Like we're talking about, we got rid of him. What did he do?
He was only meant to be there for a limited time.
Like,
it was a limited time. It was a limited time to help like improve these players' mentality. Apparently, like they were trying to help them out, but
I think
that's all it was.
Like, I think he means like, why bring him in?
Okay, that why did they bring him in?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, why?
I think that's an interesting. That's a fair point.
When obviously whatever he's saying, I don't know.
To be honest, though, maybe unless it's maybe like they're trying to do that similar thing to, like, you know, I'm pretty sure Surfer knows, because like me and him, we both watch like NBA or like NFL stuff. Sometimes they like to bring in these sort of coaches, like, you know, to help.
No, that's understandable.
teams.
I just don't think it translates into other sports.
Of course, yeah.
You know,
but again,
mean?
that's the failure. That's the failure.
It's like.
But I also feel like the model they brought in was kind of based on the American model. Like the North American model, as in like
I agree.
Young players, and even if they finish at the low, it's good for them because they get first pick. But with us, it's low, you get relegated. Like, you're not getting first pick.
Okay,
they are not that stupid. I refuse to believe
they can't be that stupid, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, from what we've been hearing about Chelsea and them wanting to buy, I refuse to believe they're really that stupid. I think maybe
I refuse to believe that too.
the metal face, like, I don't know if you know this, but like Bury apparently was like is in very good business, or like in cahoots before he was in football with the Red Bull group and the football stuff that they've been doing. Now, I would probably say they are more so maybe trying to do that, but like for an upper table, essentially like a upper table team where eventually these players come into the championship group.
You cut, bro.
You
cut out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh,
hello.
You hear me now? What are you saying, bro? Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
He's gone again.
He's gone again, yeah.
Hello.
Maybe maybe let him come back and let him hop out.
Of course.
Hop back in, yeah. Maybe that might just help him out. Maybe.
Yeah.
But to his point, like, I think that's what the club are trying to do. You know this. I think we said this before on stream, where they're trying to do the Red Bull model, but like where it becomes like a championship model essentially. You got these kids, they go to different stuff, and then eventually they come to us. Some and like the ones that you don't like, maybe not reach that level, they'll be like a mid-table club medal, and they can be all sold to like different clubs in and around the league. So that's that. From what we know at the very least, that's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong though, of course.
But I'd also like, listen, the thing is, like, I don't mind the owners making mistakes either. Like, we all saw, like, it's not like Roman was perfect either. Roman was making mistakes on his end too, with the signings you were making, with the, like, in a sense, even like the fines that we're receiving now because of the things that Roman was doing under the table.
The accountancy,
like, the accounts and all that. Like, I don't mind them making mistakes. It's if you do them again and again, that's where I start getting annoyed, you know. And right now with the ownership, like, it seems like they're trying to amend from the mistakes they've made. It seems like they're not trying to go back to the sacking culture. They want to give a manager time, which for the longest time, a lot of us here on this panel were asking for that. And even some of us on this panel were maybe even pissed off when Lampard got sacked the first time and wasn't giving time. I mean, like, listen, now hindsight's 2020, and I'm happy with it. But, you know, maybe what were you saying, Metalface?
Oh, I couldn't remember, you know. Red Bull model.
Yes, yeah.
The Red Bull model has only been in existence since what, like 2010. maybe later than that. I want to say, and they've won nothing big. Like we used to be European giants. We're not that anymore. The owners, they've implemented their model. They've spent their money. All I can say to Chelsea fans is you've got to lower your standards. Hopefully,
You know what? I've got a counter for you,
2-3
my face. I've got a counter for you, but let me counter you with this one. Yeah.
Hopefully,
Now
2-3
the Red Bull model.
No. Hopefully 2-3 years when the squads mesh together and whatnot. Hopefully we can be back up there. But I feel like we'll be lucky if we finish top 6. Lucky. And
I've got a counter for you, bro. I've got a counter for you. Yeah. Let me give you this counter. Yeah. The Red Bull model. Right.
Yep.
The reason why it technically was a success in my opinion, but the reason why it gets the reason why it's like the reason why it's halted in the Bundesliga is because of what the Bundesliga's rules of the 50+1 rule. Like once you reach that level to the level of the Bundesliga, which the Red Bull model did for Leipzig, then you get stunted by the actual league itself. Whereas I think with Chelsea, right, you're already an upper echelon club in America. Yes, maybe the last 2 to 3, I think since 2017 we haven't really been reaching our level. Yes, we did win a UCL in that time and a Europa League in that time, but we really haven't reached our level. We can use that model, but we can expand it. That's the difference between us and Leipzig. We have the club power and the money and the clout to do so. That's the difference, I would say.
Well, yeah, because the Red Bull model is not a championship winning model unless you're talking about like RB Salzburg in Austria. You know, they're a pure selling model. Look at RB Leipzig; they have release clauses on their best players. We bought Nkunku on a release clause, their best player. That's just one example of it. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to retain the best players and sell the rest. That's where we make our profit from.
No, but I still feel like we're turning into a feeder club. Like it's all cool. We bought these multi-club, and I was all for the multi-club model. But all the signings we've made, I feel like the multi-club model should be signing, because you don't see Man City spending all these millions on these young players. They've got all these other, like 19, 20 other feeder clubs to do that. But yet here we are spending money, £1 billion, and arguably we don't have one world-class player or one go-to man for our squad.
But bro, again, but what you're saying again, it comes back to this. The clubs only started this model. That's the difference. Man City, when they were doing this, it was back in 2014, 2015. There weren't that many eyes on Man City. Yeah, there weren't many titles. There wasn't that many eyes on them. No. What I mean by there's not that many eyes on them in the sense that the way that transfer news is being released now, was not being released back in 2014, 2015, if you're honest, unless you were a big player. If you are a small player, no one's talking about you back in 2014, 15. I'm pretty sure you know that. Anyway, Oliver can attest to that, even Surfer, like, because we're old enough to remember that. So when they were doing this model, they were doing it at the time. You know, Lampard went to their feeder club, right? People forget this. The New York
FC,
New York, yeah.
So like they already had this planned, but they had done it a lot more earlier, when the news wasn't coming out as much in terms of like focusing on clubs. Like whereas now Chelsea, you got guys like Fabrizio Romano, you got guys like all of these other guys that are all coming out who are gonna be onto these news and get this news fast and quickly as possible. That's what it is, bro. We live in a new age.
One thing I will say I'm wrong. If the owners do come right and you know it does all work out, I will say I'm wrong, because I'm firmly bored out. Yeah, I'm more the board out than Poch out. You know, I don't blame Poch or the players. I more blame the board. But I will say one thing: football is changing. You've got the Club World Cup format that's becoming a whole new format. You've got the Champions League, which is changing, which is becoming a glorified Super League. And I hear something's happening along with the wages and how the finances will run as well in the long term as well. So maybe they've all seen this before me, and I'm just being ignorant. And they've cut the wage bill, they've cut all of that, brought all these young players on these big contracts and whatnot. Me personally, I think that's all. It didn't benefit the club. I think that just took away from the club. But if I'm wrong, and in 2-3 years we're up there, you know, winning this, because we're automatically in the new Club World Cup format because we won it. But the Champions League, like, I don't know, man. I just feel like the board did it all wrong, and like we've gone way back. But maybe if I'm wrong in the future, I'll hold my hands up and say, you know, I was wrong. This guy is some next genius. Because there's
you know what? I've got a nice little thing. I've got a good little thing for you. You know that the Premier League's about to bring in wage caps, like in the next season or two, right?
right?
Yes.
So the club already have like the club already seen this and foreseen this, right? And like you see now what the wage bill is going for Chelsea Football Club, for example.
They've halved it.
Yeah, they've halved it. It's now the average wage now is 150k a week, bro. Like beforehand, you knew what it was like before. Go ahead, Oliver. You can continue.
No, also just to add on to that, they've I know the whole 8-year contract thing is a gamble, but if it works out, we do not have to renegotiate wages, and we're set.
Yeah, well, yeah, but let me tell you this, Kepa. What like when people say this 8-year contract,
Kepa was a panic buy.
He was signed on an 8-year, and it was very, very detrimental.
It was a panic buy release clause that was done under very poor scouting.
Yeah, but how many of our new players are on 8-year contracts, and how many of you can like really say, well, yes, he's gonna be?
I don't think the context is the same.
Yeah, but regardless of context, it's still 8 years. Like it's still very.
You know what? I'll hit you with this. Yeah, I'll hit you with this. The problem with Kepa was the wage that we gave him. The wage that we gave Kepa compared to the wage that we given the other guys is completely different, bro. That's the difference. If you're being honest, how much are we paying? How much we were paying Kepa something around about 175. Yeah. Whereas these other guys, I think they're earning somewhere around about 100k a week roughly. Yeah. If you're the average player 100 to 90k a week, you can move that on quite easily, quite quickly.
But half of these guys, we're not even going to see them. This is going to be a flip. Like most of these guys are self-sustainable, really.
But that's to help build the club's sustainability model.
Thing is, we were doing that for years as well. We did that under Roman anyway. We that's what we used the loan army for. That was to we were basically farming players out for profit.
We couldn't have loan armies now, though.
Yeah, I know, but this is what I mean. Like you're saying we're flipping players. In effect, the loan army was the same thing, where you're farming out players as assets to make money off, whether that be transfer fees or loan fees.
I don't even think it was that. I think it was just to be successful and hopefully find a gem, like a diamond in a rough type thing. Because Roman, like this, the difference between the new, like Clear Lake now and Roman. Roman wanted success. These men now, they just want money. They're businessmen. They're not footballing men.
They can't take dividends out until 2032. How are they going to get money in the next 9 years?
Well, why do you think they're handing out all these 7-8 years contracts and whatnot? They're they're trying to be self-sustainable. They'll probably build a new stadium.
Well, yeah, they are trying to be self-sustainable because we weren't run as a business for 20 years. We were run as a passion project by an oligarch. There's a huge difference.
I mean, you got to remember, Chelsea, when Roman bought Chelsea, it was to hide his assets, technically. So it was money laundering. It wasn't necessarily...
not money. Roman, he wanted a football club. He was going to buy Spurs. Like, he wanted... Roman is heritage. Roman is...
It was to maintain his money, though. Like... That's what these oligarchs do. They buy all these expensive things so that they have the money safe there, that's stashed away. You just sell it whenever you need it.
Casually, if it was a money thing, why did he leave us debt free? Why didn't he just?
Well, no, I think as a result, right? As a result of owning the club, he ended up falling in love with the club. No, don't get me wrong. I think Roman did love the club
like from day one. I think he was a proper footballing man, and if the government didn't step in, the club would have gone to his son. And it would have been, Chelsea as we know it. But Chelsea as we know it is dead. And maybe they don't. Maybe they don't sell in 10 years. Like maybe they don't. Maybe all of us right. But for me, man, thinking now, I think it's all You put in a Glazer course. We're stuck with them from 10 years. They're doing what they're doing. My standards are on the floor. Same with everybody else's, because we're not making Champions League. We'd be lucky to make Europa. I just think the standards right now, they're on the floor. But hopefully...
quickly, just before you finish off here, I'll make this point. Under Roman, let's not go to the church. Yeah, he definitely loved Chelsea. I will not deny that 100% right. But the thing that saved Roman, and I made this point twice, if you look at Roman's first generation of like players they brought in, Mourinho was able to build on a spine that lasted him essentially a whole decade of football from 04 to like 2012, 13 essentially, right? And
Special
then
one,
then like remember like post UCL, we built a heart, somewhat of a half spine while keeping some of the old players that we still had from the time that we brought in between, like obviously a Hazard. We brought Willian, I think a year after that. Oscar obviously was there until he left for China. Obviously we got Matic. We brought Matic back to the club.
we had
Ramirez, right? So like, but Ramirez was like, I think Ramirez was like what 2010, right? When
Ramirez was a baller. He left at like 15, 16, I think.
15, 16. Yeah, right. But the point I'm trying to make is we had that second generation that we somehow were able to build it. But then like we had this bit after like from 2017 onwards where we needed to build the new generation of players, but we did it so late that it kind of like essentially affected the way we played as a team, right? And the thing
you could say that.
Yeah. So like, because like I always look at it as generations. Like the final generation always was obviously Havertz, Werner, Ziyech, Mount, Reece James, etc. But like you look at that Chelsea period, right? The problem was we built ourselves initially for short to medium term success, right? But what happened in the mid-teens and afterwards, we continuously built for short term success. The problem is Chelsea right now. As a group, we can't continuously just be short term. We need something where it's going to be long term, where we have a process where we can continually bring in these players that we need, such that when there's a need for rejuvenation, a need to remove and restart the cycle again, it's already happened, and that we can still be at the top. This is why, like, this fall for Chelsea, whether we like to admit or not, it's been coming. Like I always said this, after Sarri, there's not been a style of play we've had. Big up to Lampard, like he got us top 4. Let's not get that twisted, but Lampard didn't really necessarily have a style of play. Tuchel was just doing the tactical stuff that was working with the team to get the best out of them, essentially, right? And then obviously we had Graham Potter. We know how that turned out. And then we brought Lampard back just to be a placeholder. Now we've got Pochettino. Obviously with him, I'm yet to see, if there's something that's, I'm yet to see something. I'm waiting to see that style of play, but I'm seeing the formations being played constantly with the players in positions at the end of the day, right? So I'm still waiting to see where that goes forward. But I can understand this ownership doing the thing of like, we need to be A, sustainable, and B, we need to make sure we are built for long-term success such that we can continue this cycle at a constant rate. Because that's what you need.
There's a reason why Roman had to clear the debt. It's not like he got the club in debt. He put the club in debt.
It was, but the thing with that, and the thing for me when it comes to Roman, big up to Roman. Obviously he cleared out that was his money.
I guess I appreciate that. Yeah.
And that was the money he was pumping in. But he wouldn't have needed to pump in 1.6 billion. Yeah, if we as a club were a bit more streamlined, a bit more run better, right? And like there had been a realization at the club, that we need to continue for long-term success, and we need to do a few things there, here and there. That's all it is for me personally.
Yeah, and even so, like you were mentioning before, like what's the reason with these contracts, right? Listen,
I'm on rotation, really.
That right, but also when you look at all these players that we're trying to obtain, right? One thing that I've noticed very often that happens to us, and why these transfer fees tend to be so expensive, is because we're trying to buy out the rest of these players' contracts half the time. And like, when is Chelsea gonna be in that position? Like, hey, you want our player, you got to buy out the rest of his contract. The last good sale we had that was close to that, and it was just Marina masterclass for this one, was Eden Hazard. How often did players just walk away on a free on us? How often did players get sold for cheap because they were close to ending their contract?
Exactly.
We never make money off of these players whenever another team wants them, or whenever Real Madrid comes knocking.
Kova.
Yeah, Kova went on a free. Yeah, so like, imagine if they had the long contract and they start balling out. We could make some money off of them, or if someone actually wants a player who we don't rate, like for example, Havertz, right?
Yeah.
Imagine we have another player like Havertz that wasn't that great for the team, and a club like Arsenal come in and is like, hey, we'll give you 60 million for him. We rate him. We can do something with him. Cool, take him. We did a 8-year or 10-year long prison contract for a reason, so we can sell you for this expensive and make up our money.
Yeah, true.
So at the end of the day, I don't mind these contracts.
Kepa, fair enough.
Exactly.
But we're very good. There's a bad.
But remember, who signed Kepa, bro? Who signed Kepa? It wasn't this ownership that signed Kepa and put him on that crazy deal
and put him on that money. It was the previous ownership mistake. You know, we go back and we look back at 2017, bro. Metalface. I remember 2017 Metalface. Like that transfer window, that some transfer 2018 where you brought in, I think Bakayoko was one of them, him, Zava Costa, all of those guys we brought in, right? That was a transfer window that has been cursing us for the last half decade, bro. Until recently.
Because literally every single window was bad. Like people don't mention this. I know we mentioned this on, you know, when Asmir Begovic had his comments. The 15-16 window goes under the radar every single time that we bring up bad transfer windows. That was atrocious.
Well, after we won the league, right?
Yeah, after we won the league, the fact that Pedro was the only player of note that you can bring in, that's a disgrace.
Pedro.
And big up to Pedro, but you need more than that to sustain success.
Yeah. But you see Pedro, he's experienced, yeah. Like one thing I'll say with Roman, when we won, he did not add to it. Like he didn't really add to it. Like when we win, like when we won under Roman, all we needed was like 1-2 players. Just like what Pep does. You know, when he wins, he adds 1-2.
We need to build around. We need to build around Eden Hazard. That's what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't do that.
Yeah, we only did it. I think we only did it once. We did it after we won the first title. So 05-06, we added little pieces here and there, Michael Essien, stuff like that. Put Crespo back, you know, stuff like that. But we haven't done. He's right. We haven't done it under any success. That 15-16 window is a disgrace. Take Pedro out. Michael Hector, Oji Boji, Matt Miazga, Nathan Kennedy. I mean, that's a disgrace of a window. If you take Pedro out and Begovic as well.
Pato and Falcao was wrong.
Pato Falcao. Oh my
God.
Falcao
was very, very rated back then. So was Pato.
Look at his season he had at United, though.
No. You remember?
Did we get him from United? Did we?
No. Remember he had that on. Remember he's coming back. Remember he's coming back from that horrific injury. He had that season on loan at Man U and didn't do anything really. And then I think did he score 1 goal for us?
I think so.
I think like a defeat. Defeat at home to Palace or something. I can't remember what it was, but
you can argue we've been on that downfall since we last won the title because we've never ever really competed since then.
Bro, I think even though we won the title in 16-17, I think we've been on a downhill since we won it in 15.
Yeah, we have. TT definitely papered over the cracks, but we finished top 4 back to back though. We finished top 4.
That Champions League victory
papered over the cracks.
It papered over a chasm. That's
but we got into. Yeah, but we got into every single final. We lost 2 of them.
Yeah, that's because I think we were a cup team. I think we're a cup team.
We lost the ability to win the league. I'll be more than happy to cup team now. But
that's fine.
It's just not the case.
No, I just think though, if you look at a league record from 17 onwards, after we won the last title, it's just pathetic. Our league record, it's absolutely pathetic. You can say, oh yeah, well we finished 3rd, we finished couple of 4ths, but even then it's like those they're not impressive 4ths or 3rds. You know what I mean? They're not like we were in a title race or something like that and finished.
But we was in the title race. Like I say, it was before Christmas time. I said we was top of the league, game in hand. Yeah. But then both of the fullbacks were injured. They just completely capitulated.
But that's an issue. That goes 2 things, right? That's not buying adequate replacements, to back them up. Right, and then that's also Thomas Tuchel not having another plan afterwards, right? Do you know what I mean?
We couldn't play any other system because of the midfield. We had Jorginho, we had Ante, he was injured all the time, and Kovacic was injured as well. I'm trying to cover the ground Jorginho didn't cover.
Yeah, and that's it goes to the whole thing. It's not it's just not being. You know, we should have so many more trophies while we're talking right now. Do you know that?
True.
This club should have already overtaken Arsenal in the trophy stands right now. You know that, right? Should have already done it. That's the problem. You said it before. Even under Roman, under these like let's see, we have never really built when we've succeeded. You know that. We didn't build properly. We thought under Thomas Tuchel when we won the Champions League, we only need a striker to and this team is complete. No. We didn't only need a striker. We needed other players as well.
Spine.
Yeah, we needed a spine. We haven't built a spine. And the last time we had a spine was Like the
If
15, the 14,
but the
15 season. Proper
Yeah.
spine. Like, we haven't had that since then. And you can't. And look at the most successful side, City. City have a spine, and they've replaced their spine. When Fernandinho was getting older, they put Rodri in, let him settle for like 1 to 2 seasons, and he's ready to take over. Right there and then. The defenders are the same. Company going out, they put Diaz in, stuff like that. Aguero going out, they put Haaland in. It's just annoying because they could do it. They could have done it if they wanted to. They just rested and thought they were doing well. They thought, oh, do you know what? We win. The longest we've ever gone without winning is like 2 years. Something like that. Oh, that's fine. We'll just get some silverware, and everyone will think differently. And they're right. We did. As a fan base, we went, oh, well, we win every 2 years. It's fine. We'll just carry on.
As long as we get a silverware, we're happy.
That's what it is. We were. Yeah.
We're literally at our, and this is the best example. We're literally like a baby being given like a silver spoon. Literally, that's what it is. As long as you got that silver spoon, we all laughing, la 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 la. I mean, well, we've won something. We're all happy, yeah.
No, it's like a drug addict. Silverware's the drug. Any type of silverware, we soak it up and go, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. We're really good. We're really good. We're great. We just need this and this, and we're fine. No. We need so much. We need so much more. And our transfer windows have been appalling. No, Baba Rahman was at this club for like 8 years. 8 years. Baba Rahman was at this club for.
Sar's still here.
Who?
Right. Sar, Milan Sar. Even Pochettino was
free transfer. Remember?
Yeah, he's still at the club. Like, I don't know what he's doing nowadays.
He's injured.
He's on 120k per week.
He's on 120 grand a week.
He came on a free though, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's on 120 grand a week.
That's mad.
That's mad, isn't it? Did you ever heard of, before we signed him, did you ever hear of Malang Sarr?
No.
I've
got one question and I've got to go.
A little.
Was there anything going, oh yeah, you know the free transfer market, we need to sign Malang Sarr? No one was mentioning Malang Sarr.
So that same transfer.
That's a lot of our players.
That same transfer window, we got Thiago Silva. That's the kind of caliber you need to be going for.
Right.
Experience. Yeah. Even then, people were saying he's washed. He's 36. Like, it's mad.
Yeah.
Oh, not at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, at that time,
he weren't washed at that time. Now he was quality.
I remember Liverpool fans really bantering into Thiago
No, yeah,
Silva.
but they're deluded anyway. You know, they live in their own world, don't they? So
I've got a question for all of you lot. Yeah. When do you lot see us next lifting a trophy? Like this season, like how many years or what season do you like?
I mean, the way I see it, with Manchester City out of the Carabao Cup, I think it's a free for all now. We could definitely win that Carabao Cup. Why not?
Oh wow, I don't know, man.
I think it's, you know what I keep saying.
It's the attack.
It's the luck of the, yeah, but it's also luck of the draw. It's the luck of the draw. Right?
Well, yeah, we got Blackburn next in the Carabao.
That's what I mean. And then you want, I think there's isn't there like a site? It's like Exeter against someone like in the like Division 2 or something like that. And
so
a couple of draws there is like you would love. So it's a luck of the draw. I'm not all for this. I'm not all for this. Yeah, I want to play the best. I don't. No. I want to play the worst. You know what I mean? I want to play the worst. I don't, because you know what it says on the cup? It doesn't say who you played. It just says who
won it.
I don't care.
Only care who.
It's like the Champions League. You know the Champions League. Oh yeah, I want to play Barcelona, Real Madrid. No, bro, I don't. I want to get the worst. You know, I want if I was in the Champions League last year. Well, we were. I'd want that.
I want young boys. Napoli, that's who I want. Young boys.
Inter Milan.
Pause.
AC Milan. No, but I understand what you're saying. You want that. You want Man United. You want Man United's group or Arsenal's group in the Champions League. That's what you want. That's a Europa League group.
You want Man City.
Yeah, the Man City.
You guys don't want to know how much I was cheering in 2021 when we got Porto in that quarter final. I was in sick form. I was jumping up and down. Oh my God, I was so happy.
Yeah, because because really up until the semi-final, that's when you can't really escape facing any of the big sides really,
Yeah.
unless you get a draw like last year, like Inter Milan had when they had was it Benfica?
Napoli.
Or?
No,
And then-
that wasn't
no,
Napoli.
They had I think they had Benfica, then Milan.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you want. That's exactly
Well,
what you want.
Going back to Metalface's question, Surfer, when do you expect us to win a trophy?
I don't know. That's what I say. I mean, I think I agree with Oliver to a certain point. With Man City out of the mix, League Cup is there for anyone. Newcastle going to Man United in the next round. I can't remember who Arsenal. I think Arsenal are facing a Premier League side as well. Spurs are out. I think Liverpool are facing a Premier League side as well, if I'm not mistaken. And we've got Blackburn Rovers. So, and like I said, there's 2 or 3 ties that have like lower division teams are definitely going to go through to the next round. So it's like, it's there for the open.
Possibly this season.
Yeah, I mean, if you think, remember Jose Mourinho, you know, his 2 stints, you know, he really, really dwells on and really looks to the League Cup as winning it. And his first stint, because he said it was important to build a winning foundation for the players. And look at Pep,
especially with the young
Pep
team
won it
now.
4 times
They
in a
need
row.
to win.
Yeah, they need to win, right? They need
it under the belt.
But remember his first team. I know we bought a lot of players, but those players were young. They hadn't won anything in his first side, like the John Terrys and Lampards and Good Johnsons and stuff like that.
But they had experience all around them, though. Like
right, that's the difference.
He bought Carvalho.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I'm talking about just as a group, they hadn't won much at all or anything really. So, listen, the League Cup can be used to propel yourself to winning, or like what we're seeing with Man United and some others in the past, it's just used as a statistic as to win something. So, is there FA Cup? I really want us to target the cups this year because I don't think we're going to do anything in the league. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
fair enough.
Let's get as high as we can in the league. Fine, no problem. But I really want us to really focus on the cups. I think the League Cup's doable this year.
I mean, we've got a squad depth for it, but
exactly. And we've got players coming back. I remember we've got players coming back around. We've got players coming back around the semi-final time. And the final time. So
yeah, but my thing is we need the attacking players because MJ he's not cut out for it. Bro, I want him. That's who I want.
Ahmed.
Yes.
What about you? What do you think, expectation-wise? When do you want to win? When do you think this team is going to win something?
It's an interesting question. I don't know about this season. Obviously, I don't think it'll be this season. I think probably you're looking at next season, in my opinion, or the season after.
I agree. That's what I was going to say. I don't think about the season after. I think next season. Because the reason I say this is as much as I am confident that this team is on raw talent is good enough to win stuff and compete, it's still raw talent. Like, as much as I want to, back the transfer window and this has been a good window, we got good players and all this stuff, I do still wish we had experience. There are some players that we got rid of last season that I kind of wish did stay, but it is what it is. This is a new project. We're aiming for a different thing. We're trying to rebuild a new kind of squad. There still needs to be experience to be had. I still think these players need to go through what it is to, not like last season, but maybe get to almost go through what Man City had to go through before they won the Champions League. They lost it to us. They tasted defeat. And then the next season, or the next opportunity they had to win it, they won it.
Sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes you can just win it straight out.
Yeah, and sometimes you can. Sometimes you can. Say that again?
After we won it, they got knocked out by Madrid. Then there was Liverpool, Madrid in the final.
Yeah.
It was one after that.
It's that's what I mean. Like next time they were in it, they won it. But I think this team does lack the experience to be clinical enough to in those big games make the right decisions. We will get results. Don't get me wrong. I still think we will get results. I still think this team has the capability to, crawl back up the table and maybe compete in that top 6, competition to get a place in top 6. Which again, not the Chelsea standard. We want to be top 4. We want to be in Champions League. We want to be competing for the league. I know that, but right now, with how young the team is, how new and raw it is, you got to also be realistic with your expectations. And I think because of that, maybe next season, I can see us definitely competing, and we should be winning silverware. By next season, this team should be meshed. By next season, this team should be almost complete. Our transfer window should be 1 or 2 players, if that. Maybe we should be selling some other players. Maybe, I don't think we're going to get the overhaul seasons that transfer windows that we've been getting for the past 2 windows. So I think we need to take this team, play with them, find out the chemistry, find out the best lineup, have them compete with one another to find placements in the team, starting positions, and go with it. Let them get the experience that they need to compete. And the next season, I think that's when we have to win something. This season, we might get close. And if we do win something, then that's a bonus for me. I think we're ahead of schedule. But this is the first year into this 3-year project that Poch has in place. I think the first year we're going to get close. Second year is when we can start talking about we're going to win something.
Can I ask a question before we finish out? Yeah.
Sure.
And it's in regards to the stadium, because there's been kind of more and more rumblings that the situation at Stamford Bridge is looking a bit more complicated than it's getting, and there's obviously the Earls Court option. It seems to be becoming a bit more of a reality. What are people's thoughts on that? Because obviously, I know the pitch owners are obviously involved in this, right? In regards to obviously the naming rights and everything in regard to club. But do you think there's a solution maybe where Stamford Bridge is still somewhat kept, but it's not like the men's stadium, but it's used as the female stadium? Maybe you have the Stamford Bridge as the females' new home instead of Kings Meadow, and then maybe you get you build a main stadium for the men's Earls Court at the very least or something like that. Do you think maybe? But the thing for me, I was thinking about this. Is it going to be too costly for them to be taking care of 2 stadiums at the same time? They're going to be, one is going to be 60k, the other is going to be around about 40k, if I'm not mistaken. That's what Stamford Bridge is like.
Yeah, I think the operating costs will probably be too much for the women. As far as I'm aware, Stamford Bridge for the ladies, they only do big crowds on the UCL nights. When they play their odd games from the Women's Super League, I don't think they necessarily fill out that stadium to even near half of its actual capacity. So I just think for a site that big, the operating costs will be far too high for what they're actually getting in terms of an attendance.
Fair enough. But honestly though, I am beginning to think though that something is about to happen with Stamford Bridge though, where it is gonna. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna be able to build it on there. It's with the news that's coming out, it's becoming. I think it's becoming more and more apparent. Maybe the stadium that they're dreaming of building might not be able to be built. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for me,
the whole thing would be they want. They want.
Go ahead.
I think they want to have. I don't think they think 60,000 is big enough.
That's what I'm saying to you. Yeah, because I'm saying.
I think they want to do the same as Spurs. They want that. They want a stadium that is not only for football. They want a stadium that can host multiple events, and don't even try and tell me that if they get to do that, they aren't already talking about hosting NFL games there or something like that.
I could see that.
They'll probably do a Dodgers exhibition game there.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Saying, there's no way these guys don't have links to the NFL guys. All right, do you know what I mean? There's no way.
They all do.
They all do, and I can see them wanting a cut. They want a piece of that huge pie. And look how much Tottenham make a match day. Is insane what they make in a match day. Yeah.
Or the NFL, bro, it's the front row seats can cost up to, correct me if I'm wrong, $10,000.
I'm just talking about Spurs on a football match day, not even like an NFL day. It's on a normal match day. Spurs intake is insane what they make. Arsenal as well used to be, but Spurs make more than Arsenal on a match day now.
Yeah, but the thing is though, that whatever their plan is, they're gonna have to tell the Chelsea owners, the pitch owners, whatever the idea is, because whatever is going to happen to the stadium, they should be aware and know about it.
Right.
But I don't think what Ahmed said, like move to Earl's Court and play on that, will happen, because like I know like a lot of people like to use this word heritage, but there's a lot of history, rich history. There's players like legends, ashes under the soil of Stamford Bridge. Like
But
there's too much history.
But I agree with you, Hassan, bro. I agree with you, Hassan. But the problem is here, like, you've got a logistical problem now. How much, like, at some point you're going to need, what's it called, yeah? You're going to need to start maximizing the amount of money you can make from the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
How much more money can you make from like Stamford Bridge? Like, for example, the land that you've been trying to buy right now, which is where some of the pensioners actually live there, and the Chelsea pensioners live, which is next to the stadium. Apparently, they've just given an injunction to stop the club from buying it. So like, it's even getting harder for them to even buy land on the stadium. And
I completely understand, because where Stamford Bridge is, bro, it's a rich area. Like for you to buy a little piece of land, it's gonna cost a lot of money.
It's not even just the land, just buying stuff, bro. Like, you've got land underground behind you, so that's gonna be a civil engineering or like even engineering situation you've got to worry about. There's the overground that passes by Stamford Bridge, by the way. Like, that's on the far north side. That you don't see it when you're coming into Stamford Bridge, because you're coming from like the back side of it, essentially. So the point I'm trying to make is that there's a lot of stuff there that's going on, like where it's very complicated, and like eventually, we have to be honest with ourselves about how much big can we make Stamford Bridge, and is that viable enough, not just for the owners but for you guys too, bro? We have to be honest about that too.
I 100% agree with that, but there's also like the side that I see as well, which is the owners of the pitch practically saved the club. They were the era that actually saved Chelsea, like the whole save the bridge era and stuff like that. Like,
but no one,
without them.
But the point is, what I would say to you, Hassan, though, is that I agree. I listen. We obviously
you gotta see it from both sides. It's a tough mess, from both sides.
But that's why one of the points I was thinking about, was that you keep Stamford Bridge, but you at least do something with it where you maybe, you keep it as part of the heritage of the club. Maybe you don't do like you don't build stuff around there. No, you keep the stadium. You let it be of use for some level of like ability, right? You don't need, because you can have the stadium there, but people don't need to like work there as much. Maybe have it for some women games like that. Like, you don't need to have it as a major operating cost. The stadium needs to be operated on a major cost if it's like for women's league game, because you're going to open up a certain amount of the stadium, and it can be done for tours too. So there's at least something there that you can at least try to maximize it with. Use it for youth league games or something like that. That's all.
I agree. And the thing is, though, like one thing I'll say, like, I don't know what the solution is, and this is what they're in charge of, and their responsibility is to figure out a solution to make this happen in some shape or form. What I will say, though, to I guess to give some comfort to the optimism that this is going to happen, is that there's one thing we found out with Bowley, is if he really wants something, he will find a way to get it done through a loophole, through something in a detail in a contract, or through something. He will hire the right people to get it done. He will hire the right people to find a solution. So whether it's what Ahmed's saying, whether it's actually rebuilding the stadium, whether it's actually expanding, I think there will be a consensus that will be come to.
And also one thing I will say quickly, you can't even do like the NFL thing. Like, well, I don't because this, Marshall, right? Where the NFL, they can still build a bit more upwards, right? Where you've got even uppers. You can't really do that. You can't really do that for football stadiums. So there's like limits to that can happen. So you're really in like what is essentially a foothold.
We'll see what happens. But let's end it on here. We've had a 3-hour call-in show. Big up to Metalface, actually. Honestly, you came on here, surprised me. I did not expect to have like a very civil conversation. I thought we were gonna fucking,
Have the minerals talk.
Yes.
I thought
fucking minerals, bro.
I really did,
Up the minerals, come on.
No.
Hey.
Yeah, man, not the minerals.
No. You'll get this. You'll get this.
Minerals,
okay,
bro.
that's about it. But
Hey, listen, we like being
yeah.
challenged, man. Look at God of Frogs came on the other show, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, hell yeah,
And
bro. I
listen,
was challenging
like,
these lot when I came in as well.
It goes to show,
Big
like,
up
it's one
Hassan as
thing to
well, man.
be.
I agree with a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Listen,
you.
it's one thing to be in the chat and discussing, and another thing to be here, because like when we talk in the chat, sometimes you don't get the right context, and sometimes there's like, because like, you know, some people will be.
It's hard to explain with limited characters.
It is. So coming on to here and having your say, like, it gives me a more perspective of where you're coming from. I don't necessarily disagree with a lot of things you're saying, but you know, at the same time, like, at the end of the day, we're all Chelsea fans, right? At the end of the day, Ahmed left. All right, he's got to do his thing with his channel. No, I'm just kidding. No, but at the end of the day, like, we're all Chelsea fans. I think we all want what's best for the club. We just have different ideas as to what that solution is. And so someone like Metal Face Doom coming on here, who we always disagree with in the chat, coming on here and giving us his perspective, it makes it more understandable, and you know, it's reasonable. There's a few things that you said are pretty reasonable, and I'm like, you're right, you know. So this is why we have this show, so we can get a different perspective, so you guys can have your say. And listen, big up to Metal Face Doom, big up to Hassan, big up to there was the Curry. He came on earlier as well. Curry Pirate. Thank you. He also came on and had his say, and you know, big up to everyone in the panel that came on today. So no raid today. I don't think anyone's actually on, so we're not going to be doing any rating. I'll just double check real quick before I end it. But as I'm checking right now, be sure, guys.
Give him the middle finger. I'm joking.
No. Be sure, as always, smash up the like button. It does help out with the YouTube algorithm and getting us out there and more discovered. Also, be sure to subscribe, because I know 60% of you guys that do watch do not subscribe to the channel, as you should, because it does help us out. We are trying to get to 3,000 subscribers, so help us reach that goal. Also, be sure to check out the links in the description for the Discord, for the Twitter, for Ahmed's channel. He's trying to get to 1K as well. All the other stuff there. Check out the links in the description. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought about everything that we discussed, or anything that we discuss. What do you want to discuss in the comments section? I do engage with the comments from time to time, so leave a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. I will say we do have memberships, 4 different tiers starting at 99p, and if you are a cement mixer gang, which is the highest tier, I do send you the link automatically to start off on the panel if you aren't already part of the panel. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that is a perk you get when you do sign up for that tier membership for the call-in show. So we do these call-in shows once a month in the beginning of the week, the first Wednesday of every month. So next time will be the first Wednesday in November, so be sure to write it in your calendar if you want to be a part. But shout out to the proper casual tiered and higher members, which goes out to OG Turbo Jesus, Dark, Scott, Adrian, Will, A Solomon, Maru CFC, the Danos, Chelsea Till I Die, AP, and Iwani. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I hope you guys are enjoying the perks you get with that, as well as the emojis that come with it as well. Big up to everyone in the chat that joined us. Be sure to, you know, leave a like on your way out, but as usual, guys, thank you for being here. Big up to everyone, and we'll catch you again. Our game is Saturday, right?
I think so. I think it's Saturday 3
p.m. kickoff.
Okay, so we'll catch you Saturday for reaction to the game. I don't know. Hit the bell notification. We might actually have a stream in between that. You never know with me. I always, you never know. And then we'll be doing a big Casually Chelsea show to catch up on a few things that we've been missing out in the past week.
Oh, we're gonna take out data to the next level, man.
Yeah. So big up to everyone.
Just gonna drop that.
Big up for everyone. Have a good one, and as always, stay casual. Peace.